it's good to have you guys here at the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head. And so you guys are the makers of Chainsaws We're Singing, which is a wonderful movie. And for people not aware yet, could you give them an idea of what it is?
I mean, it's an action horror musical comedy from Estonia, and we ended up just describing it as Monty Python meets Texas Chainsaw and Les Miserables.
Uh,
And it's a true love letter to exploitation, just energizing cinema that is supposed to be watched with a fun crowd.
I was gonna say that unfortunately saw it at home. Well, fortunately I saw it, but unfortunately it was at home. And you guys just played a Fantasia, and I imagine a movie like this is so fun to watch with an audience.
Yeah. It
There
was
was there was a lot of clapping, people cheering on, and yeah, it was really loud.
just shouting and wooing, and it was it was so cool that at one point people started just clapping along to the music, which was first for us, and it was yeah. I'm glad that the film has subtitles, but because at some points the next joke would have been muted because of the laughter.
Oh, I like that. Was this the first time watching it with an audience that primarily, speaks English or doesn't speak your language?
Yeah, it was the first time with an international audience. We had our world premiere at the Haapsalu Horror and Film Festival in Estonia, which was also a big event, and that also blew the roof off the place. It was very loud, and so it's so reassuring and cool to see that it works basically here as well as Estonia the same way.
Yeah. And by the way, I love the logo that you guys are wearing on your shirts and that's on the
Yeah, yeah.
movie. Now, did you guys make that yourselves, or who
Yeah,
did the
yeah.
logo?
It was one of our, it was one of my, how would I say this? More annoying parts of the thing that, okay, we finished the movie. God damn it. Now we also have to do the opening and closing credits. We have to do this design. I spent like a week on it, just trying to do something with notes and something with a chainsaw. And then it just sort of hit me. And wow, that works. And so, yeah, a lot of people have come up to us and said that they like the notes on the chainsaw here.
So, Peter, how long have you been making movies with Sander?
Well, let's see. Yeah, we're brothers.
Yeah.
Just okay, I've played in his short movies since I was like 8. Yeah, in like 5 or 6 short movies, and Chainsaws for Singing is the first feature film.
Yeah,
So,
I remember watching Robert Rodriguez's Bedhead, and he sort of said that, yeah, if you have like a family or a little brother, just put him in the movie, and that's why I ended up using him a lot.
I love it. I'm reverse. I'm using my older brother in something I'm
Yeah.
making right now. So, the gore is great, and tons of blood. And I always think that a horror comedy, what really makes it funny is if the gore works. And so the gore in here, like even if it's a straight horror movie, would be good. But who did the gore? Who did the effects?
If people have seen the image with a guy with a chainsaw up his ass, that's
Right.
the gore image. That's the guy who was responsible for gore.
That's how you paid him back. You were like,
No. Oh,
oh,
actually, the chainsaw ass image, the scene with the chainsaw, and it came to being because we wanted to do a place where the killer character is singing and just hand sawing someone in the face. But then the other producers, the main character Tom and our older brother said, no, that's just too violent. We won't have it. And so we were like, okay, but a chainsaw in the ass, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's totally
that's
fine.
funny. Chainsaw in the
Yeah, that
face
is
is violent, up the ass. It's funny, right? That's the takeaway from the interview. So, Martin, who plays the killer, was he someone like you had known before? Is he another brother, or is he someone that you had known before?
no. No, he's not a brother. Actually, he's not an actor. He's like a producer. He also does music festivals, and I knew him from like a student project where I saw him doing a small part, and he just sort of I remembered his face, and I recalled, wow, that's the guy. That guy should play the killer. And so it was really outside of his comfort zone, because he's as a person
He's not
very
normally a
shy.
chainsaw wielding killer.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, he's a really shy guy, and he said that it was so cool to sort of do something really different. And the fun fact is, he hadn't seen anything about the movie since we shot it back in 2013.
Also, it's his first time seeing it.
Yeah, and a lot of the people just thought that the film just wouldn't come to be, that it was just something we shot, but wouldn't make it into a film. and then they were really shocked positively when it premiered.
Yeah. So why did it take so long to get it together? You know, over 10 years.
I mean, first of all, I suck as a director, and I really didn't
But
know
you're
what.
honest anyway.
Also, I suck as an editor, so that's why it took 2 years to edit it. And then we didn't have a budget for anything. We tried putting together a team and tried paying them, but then we just ended up in debt. It just didn't work. So at one point, I was like, okay, I'll just take my time and do it. And so yeah, for 2 years, I did the sound design. Then for 2 years, I learned musical orchestration from scratch, so the songs could happen.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
A year and a half on VFX. There's a lot of hidden VFX there, so we just erasing stuff. And then 2 years of color correction, where I basically had to restore each and every single image. And then there's like 3,500 cuts in the film. So it was a really harrowing process. It's like you put it to render, and then 18 hours it renders just to see like half a minute,
Right.
and then next day you see, no, it's totally messed up. You have to do it again.
Yeah.
And
It was just 10 years to render it out.
yeah.
But it's well, you're talking about all the edits and stuff, so it's a very hectic movie. So I add in my notes, like, was this movie like storyboarded out? Was it a lot of it like kind of like, how did you direct it? Was it like kind of free, like people, like, you have an idea obviously, but was it like,
Yeah.
I want it exactly like this? Or
It was actually it reminded me of going into battle or something, because the time, we just didn't have the time to direct it. So the shooting days would be, we end the shoot at about 10 p.m. or whenever the sun dropped. So there's a lot of talking and the processing of the images during the night, and then going to sleep at about, I don't know, 2 a.m., waking up 4 a.m., lighting your cigarette and just sort of trying to direct the script into what sort of shots are we going to do here. So we just we didn't have the luxury of directing it per se. So that's why we ended up with about, I don't know, 160 hours of footage and 8,000 video files. And then it sort of makes sense why it took so long to edit. Again, I don't know anything I'm doing with this. We're just faking the film.
Well, maybe in 10 years we'll get a sequel.
That could technically happen. We're just here trying to sell the thing and do festivals. I think it's going to take about 2 years or so. So I've been sort of so long cooped up in this film that I feel like I can't just go do another one right now.
Yeah.
My life in order, because it's we've gone all in on this one.
Peter, like, how hands-on were you for editing the movie? Like, were you there for the whole process?
So in the movie, the little guy with the crossbow, and that's me.
Yeah.
I was around 13.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Throughout middle school, high school, and university, sometimes after classes, I'd go to Sanders, and he'd show me like how he's doing. And yeah, I've seen the process like on the side for the whole time, and now like half a year ago or something, I joined the production team to help out more.
Yeah, that's a really cool, and I don't know. It's a sweet journey in that he played a kid in the movie, and now he's joined the producing team this year.
Yeah, it is an ordinary thing to happen, I assume.
So you mentioned you want to sell the movie. So what are the plans right now for Chainsaws We're Singing?
So that's the thing. We have no idea what we're doing, because all we know is how to make a movie now. So far, no experience whatsoever selling it. So we're just here making connections, talking to people, just trying to figure out how the game works. And,
he's a bit modest, but overall the plan is gonna hit festivals for around 2 years. We're gonna start distribution in Estonia. The movie's in Estonia, and Estonia is gonna be the main market. But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. Luckily, we know some people, and it's all gonna work out. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Was there any concern at all about the runtime? Because I know sometimes it's hard to get a movie, programmed in a festival. It's 2 hours.
Yeah, dude, the film is way too long, and I stress about it so much. We tried skimming it down. Okay, the first initial runtime was around 3 hours or something, but we did our best just to cut every single part out but at one point we reached the threshold where it started sucking more than just being good. So that's the sort of the fine line we arrived at. Yeah, it is way too long for a genre movie, and I'm highly apologetic about it because it could end really like 15 minutes before.
But the thing is, it could be shorter story-wise easily. I don't know how many spoilers we should put here or not.
It's up to you guys. So yeah,
The whole tribe scenes, you could just cut that out and the story would make sense, but the movie would lose so much because that's the peak of the randomness and absurdity of like what this movie is about.
yeah. It's I think people always think if it's 2 hours or more, it's too long. But like the movie Terrifier 2 is like 2.5 hours, and it was one of the biggest, money making movies, small independent movie, and made like 10 million at the theater. So, I don't know what the answer is,
Yeah, that movie was amazing. And also it was so refreshing to see that long a slasher film. I don't actually recall seeing so long slasher films.
No. Yeah, going in, I think, oh, this is going to be way too long. But when you're watching it, it isn't. So
Yeah, it worked.
yeah. And I had a great time watching your movie. Like, it's really fun. And I wish I get a chance at some point to see it with an audience. So where can people follow you and the movie to see like where you're going to play next?
Yeah, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just Chainsaws Were Singing or something like that. You'll probably find it by Chainsaws Were Singing. Also on our website, just chainsawsweresinging.com, there's a schedule of festivals. And we're gonna be announcing many more soon. Right now there are only Fantasia and a few Estonian ones, but there's gonna be more. And yeah, I'd say chainsawsweresinging.com is the main place.
Yeah.
You see all the information.
Yeah.
And you had no experience with festivals before, I assume.
I mean, we had it with a short film, a short film called Curiosity Kills, in which he plays a kid and ends up giving radioactive powers to a pet rat that ends up splatter eating his entire family. That was back in 2012. So we cruised a bit around with that in international film festivals, but then sort of the time stopped with Chainsaws Were Singing. We were out of the game for so long.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Fantasia is a huge festival, obviously, to be playing. Yeah. And I love the movie, and I've seen a lot of buzz for it. And a spoiler, our reviewer for the website, Todd, loved it. So he's going to be giving it a good review on our website.
Awesome. Oh, that's so great.
And continued success. It's just a really fun movie. And it's going to be a really fun one to watch with people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I really love the movie, not just because you guys are here. So
yeah,
good
luck. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be prepared for a fantastic adventure into the future. For when this switch is thrown, the universe will face havoc.
Things you've read, the things you've learned, the things you know about Arbor Day lies.
Trees. Why did it have to be trees?
Steve, I need you to promise me no sap of an innocent tree will be spilled.
That has to be the dumbest thing I have heard in my entire life.
Beware the trees of Arbor Day! Hey, this is Nasty Neil here at the station of decapitation without your head. And I will be joined by the terrible one, Troy, here momentarily. Did I just lose my camera? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I think it was on not widescreen, so it wasn't showing here. Show this cool shirt. We got Frankenstein here. So later on tonight, we are going to have Sara Karloff on the show, the daughter of a true icon. Icons thrown around a lot, sometimes even by me, but the daughter of a true icon, Boris Karloff. That's right. Sara Karloff will join us. It'll be Annabelle and I, and we'll be talking to Sara Karloff all about her father growing up with a legend as her dad, memories of her dad, stories that her dad told her about his film history, and it's going to be a fantastic interview. So check that out here. But until then, we're not going to do a super long show because I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm, so I don't want to be here and the lights go out. And so anyway, Troy is on his way. Hopefully he can join me. But we do have some stuff here I'll get to momentarily, but we do have some very cool trailers that folks sent in. So let's get to some of these. We just played the trailer for the movie everyone's looking forward to, Arbor Day, which I keep saying this every week. But this weekend, my plan is to launch the crowdfunder because we have a lot of cool people involved. People I want to tell you about. Behind the camera, in front of the camera, there's a lot of news about Arbor Day, and we need the crowdfunder because we're too far in to not make the movie, but we still at the same time will need some help to actually create the movie. So it's very exciting. If you are watching this on Facebook or Twitch, please also come over and check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/withoutyourhead. You can join the chat easier there. Everyone can see you. You can chat along with us and the fellow nation of decapitation. Also, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that little bell icon, and share this out to all your folks. Yes, I do have a I always wear protection, so you know. All right, so let's get to some of these trailers while we're waiting for Troy here. Of course, I'd like to let him see him too, but I don't know when the hell he's getting here. All right, let's see. All right, first of all, let's just go in order that I got them. We have a Death Cycle. Let's check out the trailer for Death Cycle. Death Cycle. Now, that looks very cool. It didn't give away too much, which I like. Just enough to tease you, hence the name, teaser. Now we have Slash Squatch. We had the good man, the creator of Slash Squatch on recently, and they had the teaser then, but he has an actual trailer just dropped recently on, I believe, bloodydisgusting.com. So let's check this out.
Brace yourself for the missing link in terror. Ancient evil reborn. Believe the legend. Fear the reality. Yeti or not, here it comes.
Hell yeah, Yeti or not, here it comes. I love it. I'm a big fan of bad puns, hence why I like James Balsamo. He will, though. I'll be honest, James. If you're out there watching, I mean, I don't mean any offense for this, but he will really put that to test. So if you think you like bad puns, you don't know if you really do unless you spent a weekend around James Balsamo. Because if you still buy that after those 3 days, you can still say, you know what, I like a bad pun. You really do. You really do. Trust me. All right, so that is Slash Squatch. That's looking good. A lot of cool puns in there. I like everything about this because it's got the fun puns. It also the gore looks great. I saw, arm getting broken in half. I'm all about this. It's looking good. So a friend of ours on the Without Your Head group, which you should be a part of, join the Without Your Head group on Facebook. I know a lot of kids out there are on the IG and the X and, like our buddy Coast here. Some of you guys are on Grindr and stuff. That's all well and good. But you got to go and join the Facebook group. It is our most active social media page. But I do try to post more on the Instagram because I know that's where the kids say it's happening. And everyone, wants to say, become a hip cat, as they say. So there is the Instagram. By the way, there's the Instagram for Without Your Head. There's also the Instagram for Arbor Day, and the Facebook page just launched. So a long-winded go around here to say that a fine member of the Without Your Head group made this film, and he posted it in the group, Graveyard Shark, which is available now. So you guys can go rent it. I think it's $10 to rent it online. So let's watch Graveyard Shark and see what you folks think.
Abby the Monster Hunter here. I am in a small fishing village on the shores of Lake Champlain, in a cemetery that is said to be the hunting ground for the horrible creature the locals are calling the Graveyard Shark.
So you have information about the Graveyard Shark?
You seem like a smart little girl. So if I were you, I'd use that brain of yours and get the hell about this town while your life and your limbs are still intact. Because I've seen the Graveyard Shark. Oh yeah. I've seen him with my own 2 eyes. Evil. He's unstoppable. He's an abomination.
We've searched this graveyard over and there's no sign of a shark.
Well, what about all the reports of shark attacks in this area?
Really? Now that's just some old town folklore meant to scare the kids.
If I was you, I'd get my ass up out of here while you could.
I'm not running away. I made a promise to myself that I would not be a coward, and I couldn't live with myself if I hid from all the monsters in this world behind a bottle. So it's time for somebody to stand up and do something. Oh.
I love it. That looks friggin' sweet. I love a man in a big suit, monster suit. He's got a friggin' hammerhead, shark head. This is a movie. I know Maddie out there. She's probably in seventh heaven. She saw that. She's like, move over, Jaws. We have a new shark in town. That looks great. I honestly excited to see that. So I'm trying to find your name, buddy. If you're, I know you're in the group and you post about it. Hit me up and we'll have you on if you would like. And we can. Oh, here we go. Matt Peters. If you would like to talk about Graveyard Shark, you are welcome on the show. Graveyard Shark is now on Vimeo on demand. So yeah, you can get it on Blu-ray, DVD, or even VHS at madangelfilms.com. When that's all one word, I was, altogether wasn't sure it was it, but madangelfilms.com. Yeah, you got Graveyard Shark. They also have a movie called Killing Time and Big Brood. So yeah, it's $20 for the Blu-ray, $15 for the DVD, and $30 for the collectible VHS. Very cool. Very nice. There is a VHS coming out of End Zone 2. And I don't think we'll have additional copies for sale, unfortunately. But if you grabbed one on the Indiegogo when it was up, you will be getting that in the mail. By the way, the Once and Future Smash and End Zone 2 are streaming now for free on YouTube. Pretty rockin'. When you say Dino Machino here, Dean Machine, a Dean, a Dobbs, fatty, boom daddy. Dobbs, my boy, is here. Shout out to Dobbs. So, yeah, go and watch the Once and Future Smash and End Zone 2 free on YouTube. Then you can pre-order the Blu-ray double disc set. Coincidentally, the horror pack is a monthly subscription. You get a bunch of Blu-rays every month in the mail. From what I understand, this month is going to be a cool double disc set. Coincidence? I don't know. I couldn't just come out right and say what you'll get. That would be wrong of me. But, who knows? Mr. Reddy in here. Shout out to Reddy. Are you ready? For John Reddy. We got Pepe Poteet here. The Hatchet Man. Pepe Poteet. We got coast to coast. He's going to we know. I'm just kidding. Grinder, man. Coast is a good man. Bubba! Yeah, Bubba. Bubba, he pre-ordered himself one of the Arbor Day 8-bit shirts. So if you get one of the Arbor Day 8-bit shirts or the James Watchin alternate poster shirts off Amazon and let me know, you get your name in the credits of Arbor Day and on the IMDb, and I've already started posting them up. Also, Bubba and anyone else who got a shirt, send me a photo of yourself, and we're going to be putting out virtual trading cards for all the backers of Arbor Day. So that will include people who got a t-shirt. And it will include everyone who backs the project when we have the Indiegogo up as a little thank you. All right, Bubba, my boy. But yeah, Bubba got one. Vic Schiavone, Faith Ivy out there. Coast in your head. Arbor Day is a lot of merch, doing better than most indie wrestlers. Here we get some cool merch. There are some great fully embroidered patches, which are going to be one of the perks. If you're just dying to have one now, hit me up. You can get one for $10. 100% embroidered patch. It's amazing. It's self-adhesive, so you can stick it on a shirt. Let's see here. Let's get to the next trailer. By the way, if you ever want some trailers played on the show, you can message me on Facebook or email me at withoutyourhead@gmail.com. All right. Next up, so we just did what? The Graveyard Shark. Next up is Only Fangs. This is one that a lot of people are looking forward to. Only Fangs. New vampire horror film, did really well on their crowdfunder. It's got the Ragsdales made it, who did Murder Size. They have a really nice following in the horror world. Kansas Bowling is the lead, who I'm tied with a lot of stuff with Kansas Bowling, Psycho Ape 2, and I'm in one of her films coming out soon, which is an unnamed project. I know the name, but we're not allowed to say it at the moment. She directed. So I'm a big fan of Kansas Bowling. Let's check this out. Only Fangs. What a name, too. Only Fangs. Very clever. I like it.
So, when's your date?
In about 30 minutes. He's a really nice boy.
Remember, don't get attached.
Whoa, what the hell is that? Holy shit. Holy shit.
Scarlet!
Did you get him?
Yes, I got him, but then this guy saw me in the park and he got away.
What do you think?
It looks like a scrambled porno. Is that a nipple?
No, those are teeth.
We'll fucking get him. Nobody will ever hurt us again.
Never again.
Who are they? Look, I know it's blurry, but I swear to God, I saw that creature eat this dude's face.
You like that shit?
Oh, I love creepy stuff. Monsters, movies, conspiracies. I love it all. Let me give you my card. If you ever need any video work, just let me know. I build websites. You know, us entrepreneurs got to stick together.
You know, Scarlett had big plans for this place. But I think I messed them all up. But I think when she sees what we've done, she'll be happy.
What are we gonna do? Scarlett is a vampire. Okay? Reese, Selena, Zoe, they're all vampires.
What are you talking about? Like real vampires?
Yes, like real vampires. They have fangs. Reese bit me too.
Damn. You guys let those bitches bite you? Cool, so what time does the drug-fueled crazy blood orgy start?
So that was OnlyFans. A lot of that cast is in their previous film, Murder Size. I believe that's on Tubi. Used to be on our friend's New Village Video website. So you can check out their previous work. And yeah, that one is coming out soon. OnlyFans. Well, we may have some of the people on eventually. We had the Ragsdales on. Kansas has been on several times. All right, this is definitely some high-end production from Coast is saying. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, don't forget, hit that like button, folks. That's free. It's free to hit the like button, free to subscribe. It helps us out. Leave comments in the chat here. Also, when the show's over, leave some comments. And if you would like to help support the show, you can join the Nation of Decapitation here. It starts, I think, at like $5 a month. And it just helps support the show here. You get shout outs on the show. You can get, if you get one of the higher end ones, you can get IMDb credits as a producer. And or you can always Venmo the show or Super Chat. The Super Chat is right here, or you can Venmo Headyverse. You don't have to, folks, but if you'd like to help support the show. All right, so that was OnlyFans. Next up is Stream. Stream is by a lot of the folks who from the Terrifier world, has a lot of horror names in it. And we will be having the director on the show coming up soon. So let's check this out, the Stream Red Band trailer. So all you kids out there, had your eyes.
Hey, bud, can you pause that for a second? I need your help.
Come on, Dad, I'm streaming.
Well, what's the big deal? It's just a game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we are running a game. Showtime!
Let the struggle begin.
Aha! Looks very cool. Stream. A lot of cool people involved. We'll be talking to the director very soon on the show. So the next three we're going to show is interesting because it is a trilogy of horror films that were made all at the same time. So let me read this little synopsis here. From Hell presents new horror trilogy by Quinn Armstrong, who will be having Quinn on next week. The Exorcism of St. Patrick, Wolves Against the World, and Dead Teenagers. Three realities, the same hell. From writer-director Quinn Armstrong and the studio that brought you Nightmare Cinema comes Fresh Hell, a new triptych of three visionary horror features. Travel through the worlds of a nefarious conversion camp. Notorious conversion camp. I think that might be a first, the conversion camp horror film. Due for a reckoning with the exorcism of St. Patrick. To a group of neo-Nazi metalheads who can't harness the beast inside with Wolves Against the World. And to an archetypal cabin in the woods where the ill-fated teens take control of their own narrative in Dead Teenagers. With Fresh Hell, Armstrong lovingly harkens back to the Hammer horror of Roger Corman model of shooting films on a small budget, back to back to back. Each film with its own unique aesthetic and cleverly interconnected elements between them. Each film is shot with great creativity and killer practical effects. With Troy here joining us. I was just talking about there's this new trilogy of films. So they were made all at the same time. 3 different movies made back to back to back at the same time. The movies are The Exorcism of St. Patrick, Wolves Against the World, and Dead Teenagers. Even though I just read this, I'm going to read it real quick again for Troy. 3 realities, same hell. From writer-director Quinn Armstrong and the studio that brought you Nightmare Cinema comes Fresh Hell. A new triptych, I've never heard that word before, of 3 visionary horror features. Travel through the worlds of a nefarious conversion camp due for a reckoning with the exorcism of St. Patrick. I don't recall ever a conversion camp horror film before, but I think that's a good.
No, I haven't heard that either.
To a group of neo-Nazi metalheads who can't harness the beast inside with Wolves Against the World. To an archetypal cabin in the woods where the ill-fated teens take control of their own narrative in Dead Teenagers. With Fresh Hell, Armstrong loving. Yeah.
Art, I'm kind of digging this.
Armstrong lovingly harkens back to the Hammer horror of Roger Corman model of shooting films on a small budget back to back to back. Each film with its own unique aesthetic and cleverly interconnected elements between them. Each film is shot with great creativity and killer practical effects by industry legend Dave Greathouse of The Killing of a Sacred Deer, Wrong Turn, and Fun Size.
Oh, wow.
So we can watch.
Sold. It sounds like that could possibly be like excellent.
No wonder why Hollywood is shaking their boots with all the good indie stuff getting made. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Pepe can't wait for Terrifier 3. Coast thought like I think OnlyFans for a couple million. No, it was I think 30,000 or something they raised. So here we go. We're going to show the trailer for The Exorcism of St. Patrick.
I know that you're scared.
Are you happy?
No.
Your parents love you so much. They just want you to be happy. And love in this world is precious. I want you to say as honestly as you can that you are lost.
There are many churches that just don't care anymore. There are gay pastors.
Every concession to the outside world costs a little bit of our souls.
You're a pastor?
Yes, ma'am.
Is the kid in there?
What kid?
Take the car to the end of the driveway, block the exit, and call the cops.
I am saving your soul from an eternity of torment.
What do you do to something that took away what was most precious to you?
Do you do exorcisms?
Well, no, not technically.
I'm so scared of hell. So scared of hell. I'm scared of hell. So scared of hell. Scared of hell.
See you in hell, monster.
Bam! See you in hell, monster. Wolves Against the World.
People need more death in their lives.
I feel like killing someone tonight!
That's good to see you.
Yeah, man, you too. You live out here now?
Yeah, I run a men's workshop on the other side of the property.
Men's workshop.
Yeah, getting in touch with the feelings. You're staying for a day or two.
Don't you miss it?
What we had up here.
I've known you my entire life. We were best friends, dude. You made me think that you cared about me, but it wasn't about me, was it?
Andy.
Because you left as soon as he died.
Whatever you got going on out here, I can't be a part of it.
Tonight we welcome a new brother.
You said you were done with the movement.
I am.
I've outgrown it. I did a lot of work to not be that guy anymore.
Just remember, I'm not the only murderer in this room.
We're all wolves. All just circling and snarling and snapping at each other.
So scared of hell. I'm scared of hell. So scared of hell. Scared of hell.
See you in hell, monster.
Damn. All right. And the last of this trilogy,
I'm
Dead
digging that one, too.
Teenagers. Yeah, I like this idea that they made 3 together. And the last one is Dead Teenagers.
Me too.
I wanted you to be safe.
Morning!
How are you? So good.
We have a pretty good group of friends.
Maybe we can all move in together or something. I love you.
I never want to leave this place.
It was all written long ago.
It's like a script for a movie about us.
Not us?
So you think all of this is just a movie? Where's the script?
I wanted you to be safe.
So just call the police.
Are you scared of something?
I am I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get us out of here.
So scared of love. So scared of love. Scared of love. So scared of love. Scared of love.
See you in hell, monster.
Booyah! All right. So there we go. Some horror films. If you would like your trailers played in the future, message me on the Facebook or email me at withoutyourhead@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have some cool people coming up in October. Tiffany Helm from Friday the 13th Part 5.
Nice.
And Brooke Bundy, her mom, from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4. They're going to be on the show to talk about their upcoming film, Catnip, which is a cat horror film.
Oh, I'm down with that.
Yes. Many people associated with Without Your Head are big cat lovers, so that'll be interesting. Trista, Robinson, everyone, basically. I never trust somebody who hates animals.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I think the only problem with a cat horror film, I'm probably rooting for the cat.
Hmm.
Because all cats they have a little evil about them.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have a really big cat or a really evil cat, then, they're going to do what they got to do.
Exactly. And next week, we're going to have Scooter McRae from Black Eyed Susan and the creators of Me and My Victim, both premiered at Fantasia Fest.
Oh, very
Black
nice.
Eyed Susan is going to be playing in Buffalo at the new festival. I always want to say Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival, but it is no longer. that is no longer around, but it is now the Amazing Fantasy Fest, which is a cool name.
It's a lot easier to say too.
It is. I just have to remember. I have to get used to it. September was we'll figure it out, but we're gonna be busy getting to hopefully filming Arbor Day. So
All excited about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some stuff popping up, but I'm gonna try not to book like live guests each week because we'll see what's happening. But we'll be back in October. All right, lots of cool stuff. I can't really announce people yet. I'm going to give out one, Troy. One person that's not been announced yet. And so what you'd have to do is go over to withoutyourhead.com/Arbor Day and sign up to the pre-launch of the GoFundMe, the Indiegogo. So do that for me, or go over to Amazon and buy an Arbor Day t-shirt. One of these two things. Because one of the people involved, and I talked to him earlier, he's also going to be involved in the perks, and that is Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw 3D, Dan Yeager.
Oh, that's awesome.
He will be
Couldn't
the
ask
voice.
For a cooler cat. That's great.
The voice of one of the characters, which I'm not going to announce right now, but it's very cool. And he agreed he's going to sign pictures of this character as a perk.
Ooh.
So we'll have to figure how much that will be, but probably like 20 or 30
awesome.
bucks, and you can get a cool autograph photo of Dan Yeager's character signed by Dan Yeager.
That's awesome.
Leatherface. Great. One of our favorites. Been on the show many times.
Mm-hmm. Super. Yeah, it's tough to find like a bad guy doing Leatherface. Like, seems like all of our Leatherfaces have been good people.
That's very true. Except for one, the guy from the remake.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah,
I thought of that right after I had said that. Actually, I was like,
I think he really stands out because everyone else from the whole franchise, I think, are really good people.
Oh yeah, yep.
Pepe Poteet says, I can't stop thinking about Cemetery Shark Trailer. Yeah, we played one earlier. That looked pretty awesome.
I saw the still of it. I thought that
it
looked
looks
so
fun.
great.
The hammerhead shark head. Coast. Cats, that movie will get super over in Russia. Do they not like cats? Or
I don't know. Are they big cat people? Or are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're afraid of cats.
Like the cat from Tales from the used to. That's a real legend too, because our grandmother didn't. She used to yell at me if I'd have a cat sleep on my chest because I guess people used to think that cats would steal your breath.
Oh well, that's the one from from Cat's Eye.
Yeah. Oh, what did he? I thought that's what he.
Tales from Cat's Eye. I think isn't that the King story where the hitman's hired to kill the cat?
Oh, okay, right.
The old guy from Preetsy's Honor in it.
Yeah, he always was old.
He was born old, I think.
Mm-hmm. He made a career of being the old guy.
Yep. It worked for him though.
Yeah. So Troy and I went to see Cuckoo, which has a limited release right now, but we both would recommend seeking it out and seeing it at the theaters. Really cool, very weird horror film.
Yeah, very like I don't want to give too much away. Very like tweaky, I think. Like there's some kind of weird stuff going on and very original, and I think people will dig it.
Yeah, I agree. Go check it out. We had a good time at the theater. A lot of people there, which was good to see.
Yeah, that's always nice to see.
And Coast was saying, in Russia, cat pet you. What a country.
Oh, that could be his new gig.
Yeah,
it's
a very topical reference for all the kids out there. Yes.
Yep.
Is he still?
Is that guy still alive? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to get him on the show.
That's a good question. Just to come on and do that,
Yeah, like is he still doing? You still doing that, buddy? It's like in Russia, the watermelon smashes Gallagher. What a country!
He's doing that now in Subway where he's working,
So also on the 29th, Melody Kay will be on the show. Now, we had talked about her when we had the director of Beyond the Decay on, which looked really cool. Round the Decay.
Yeah.
And it was his favorite actress from Camp Nowhere that came out in 95. And she had been retired from acting. She's raising her family.
Oh.
And so she came out of retirement. She was retired for 20 years. She came out of retirement to do this movie. She really liked the interview, contacted us. And so she's going to come on the show. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear things like that.
Yeah. So I don't think she's done many interviews or anything. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that should be a good time.
One of our buddies, Frank Farrell, who's been on several times. Love Frank Farrell. He was involved in Spookies. He gets his penis cut off in Street Trash. Just an all-around good dude. And so he's fine. He's announced. He's been talking about wanting to do this for a long time. Spookies 2 is coming.
Oh, no kidding.
Doing the sequels to Spookies.
All right. I'm good with that.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Maybe someone here is involved.
Oh.
So yeah, it's
probably not me. So
it's a good. Yeah, it's exciting. So yeah, we'll be talking more about that as time goes on. But it's being posted everywhere. It's all over the internet.
Excellent. That's great to hear.
Novelizations are becoming like cool again. Used to be like everything. And there's
I
actually
think you summoned them because for the first I've heard mention them in a long, in probably decades.
Yeah,
and since you were talking about them, now I'm starting to see them places.
Yeah, it's weird because I think the X trilogy they copied us with Michael Epstein's novelization of End Zone 2. It's coming out. So he announced that a while ago, and then all of a sudden they got a trilogy. But this person didn't copy because they're a cool guy. But there's a novel coming out of Madman, the Paul Ehlers film.
No, that's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Oh,
I like
that should
this.
be
I
a
like
good
this
one.
trend coming back.
Yep,
Anybody
me
out
too.
there, what you got to start doing is reading these and putting them on Audible for.
Yep. That sounds
That would
good.
probably be. You could probably pay like some cool horror guy to do it. I know Doug Bradley has done audiobooks. There's a lot of cool horror voices out there, though. That would be a good idea.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd love. You know who I don't know if he's done any, but I would love to hear Lance Henriksen
Oh, that's a good one.
read
Yeah.
a story. I think that would be so awesome.
Now all I picture is the cat people from Sleepwalk. I missed my only form of social interaction this week on In Your Head. Yeah, there's no In Your Head this week. The wrestling show. I had jury duty scheduled very early Wednesday, 8 a.m. So I got up at like 5 to get ready. And Troy came and we drove down to Orleans, which was like a 45-minute ride from here. And we got there and we asked the guys just coming into work, where do you go for a jury? Duty's like over here, but it was canceled. Then you call the number, and I'm like, yeah, I called it multiple times, and I called it even on the ride over here. And then I was like, man, was I calling the right number? We went around the corner, and there was like a dozen people there waiting who apparently also called the right number. So long story short, it was an hour and a half ride if you consider both ways.
Yep.
They think they should pay like.
And luckily, the guy, hopefully it'll be at least 3 years before you have to go again.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that guy, I would have.
That's the thing. There's probably no record that I
take it off.
Yeah, there's probably no record that I was even there though.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty well. It was kind of a weird area anyway, because the courthouse. The only thing near it was a dilapidated barn.
Yeah, it was like
that
Mayberry.
was it. Yeah, it was. It was like welcome to Green Acres. I think Orleans is the reason that people invented punk music. I think it was a little too homesy. I think little too.
We did have great donuts. If nothing,
we did.
Else.
The
I
donuts
don't
were
eat
outstanding.
donuts anymore, but I was like, we with this place, they hand cut donuts. I'll have to get a donut. It was.
We saw the sign and we were like, okay, we got to go there.
Yeah.
Hand cut donuts, okay.
And
then the line was about 50 people long.
Yeah. I knew it had to be good then. I agree with Greg. It was too far away. It's like they shouldn't have you go to jury duty at like someplace that's very, very far from you.
True. Yeah, I agree with that. Nobody understood why. That like Orleans, it's like way, way down Cape.
I can't imagine there's many cases there because it was like you said, like there wasn't even a sidewalk or anything. It was like it was in the middle of the woods by an old farm, like an abandoned farm.
Mayberry,
looked like from like Wrong Turn or something.
Yeah, it did down that way. And then when we saw like where the more populated area was, it was like out of the 1950s. It was like a Norman Rockwell painting, except for the door to hell that you found.
Yeah, and it was all sealed shut. It's weird enough that there's just this random door, this rusty metal door with no handle,
giant brick wall. Yep.
Yeah, with no door handle.
No.
And then you look, and it was completely sealed shut.
Yep.
It had sealing in between all the cracks. Like they just needed like boards over it, like hammered down. But so that's where we're gonna film our next horror film after Arbor Day.
Yeah.
It's just going to be The Door.
The Door. The Door to Orleans. That might be why they made New Orleans, too, because New Orleans is a lot more fun than
that's
Orleans.
true. Why is it named after this Orleans? They were like,
I doubt it. I bet there's an Orleans in like England or something. No. Or like, France.
We need another one of these out in town. This is the place.
Well, you knew it was weird, like when suddenly the highway turns into one lane. and it's like,
Yeah, it went from 4 lanes to 2 to 1.
yeah, to 1, and like, I don't know. I don't think I want to go this far down Cape anymore. This is where, like, I think all the inbred people live down that way.
Yeah, it's well, the town did and honestly looked like out of a horror movie. Not
Yeah,
just that I watch a lot, but it looked like a Wrong Turn kind of deal, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like this real middle of nowhere. Nothing's good's gonna happen here.
Yep, agreed.
It wasn't an abandoned farm. I don't think it was like a working farm. It was very
No, I don't think so, because the barn like looked like the roof had burned down like years ago, and you know, I hope nothing's living in there now.
I am kind of curious what kind of judge is at that courthouse.
I think that guy does everything. The guy that looked like Bing,
He's like the cook from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He is. Guy looked like Bing from the Nosferatu TV series.
Stick, yeah, right.
And I think he was both the bailiff and the judge and the jury, the executioner, you name it. That guy was it.
So when Troy and I, when we went to West Virginia, and when we flew into the smallest airport I've ever seen, and literally, I'm not even joking. The wing was like hell. It had like it looked like tape. It wasn't. It could. I hope it wasn't tape, but it was like held together. But and it was
looked like duct tape.
Yeah, it was the worst landing.
It was
and
pretty
so
much. That was it. That's what was holding that sucker on there.
And when it was literally taped up. And when we got there, there was one security. I don't mean one guy at our terminal. There was one security guard in the whole airport.
Yep.
And he also came when we went through the security. So he was the security guard and even came over for the bagging part.
Yep.
And he was like 90 years old.
Yep.
He probably wasn't, but he was I would say he had to be in his 70s.
Oh, I'd say at least, yeah. And then there was the one guy in a rocking chair that we didn't know exactly if he was waiting on something.
Yeah.
It turned out that once they got everybody like loaded up, he was the pilot. And so like the lady that was checking in the bags and stuff, they had to go over, wake him up, get him on the plane, and then she ended up being our stewardess. So it's like, okay, this is the ultimate ma and pa like place. I think it was grandpa was the security guard.
You go through the security, then they like got on the plane.
Yeah, yep. That was the weirdest.
Yeah, and they had rocking chairs there, which I used to make fun of, but then Boston started having rocking chairs. So
rocking chairs are cool. I will say that. Yeah.
So, and the reason why people wondering why did you guys fly into West Virginia? Good question. So we were going to a convention in Charlotte, and this is not to put the man on the spot, but the other guy who started the show with us, Jittery John. So he used to be Jittery John, Nasty Neil, and Terrible Troy, and he was so we were all going to go to Charlotte together. So Troy and I were going to fly from Logan to Charlotte. He was going to drive in. He called me up and he was worried that he was going to get attacked by bears. And so I started laughing and he got like mad. He's like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, you can get attacked by bears? He's like, well, driving through the mountains of West Virginia to Charlotte, I might get attacked by bears. And so I think this was nice of us. I was like, well, so instead of us flying straight to Charlotte, we were able to fly to West Virginia, and then we drove with him to Charlotte. The funny thing is, to do that on the return flight, there was no direct flight from West Virginia to Logan. So we drove from Charlotte with him to West Virginia, got on the plane to West Virginia, flew back to Charlotte to go to Boston.
Yep.
And I still don't think he ever thanked us for doing that. So anyway, that's a long story. But I see Greg.
That's because we pointed at him and laughed at him while he was eating.
Yeah. Greg Lamberson, I see, is in the chat. We were talking about your festival earlier. We played the trailer earlier as well. I might play it again a little bit later. Amazing Fantasy Fest. The trailer is awesome. It's really cool, and it sounds like an awesome festival. So we will be having next week Scooter McRae on the show, who will be talking about his film Black Eyed Susan, and we'll be talking about the festival. We'll do the whole rundown next week about what you guys can see at Amazing Fantasy. When a lot of my friends have stuff playing there. Adrian Esposito's film with Bill Whedon.
Nice.
He's going to be playing there. Special Needs Revolt. Slasher Days of Summer by Ty Chayman and Kristen Skeet will be playing there. It's a lot of cool stuff. Oh, we had the director of Slash Squatch on a couple weeks ago. They're going to be playing the trailer there.
Oh, very good.
A lot of good stuff. So
I'm sure that's a good time.
Yes. So Alien Romulus.
Come out. Going to say Alien Ramen. I need some Alien Ramen. I like that. That sounds good to me.
Well, you can get one of those popcorn heads and put some ramen in it.
I saw that this movie, Neil, has 3 popcorn heads.
Really? The one's very phallic.
Yep. And then there's one, and I think it's from a British theater, and it's got a glowing face hugger in the popcorn.
Oh, really?
So it's a clear container, but has a green glowing face hugger inside, which looks pretty neat.
I like it. Obviously I love Alien. So I'm not a fan at all of. Okay, so I love Alien. I think it's like a perfect movie.
It is.
I really love
change a thing.
Yeah, I really loved Aliens as a kid. I still really like it today, but now that I'm older, the two, I'm like, okay, Aliens is like a cheesier action version of Alien.
Yeah, it's
that's
a lot
fine.
Of fun. Yeah,
it's entertaining. But for me, Aliens far superior. But Aliens is a very fun movie. I'm not saying it's bad anyway.
And Lance is great in it. He's just awesome in it.
Yeah. It's a step. It's like a big budget B movie, really. But it's good.
Yep.
It's really well made. Alien 3, I'm in the minority. I actually really like. I know a lot of people hate Alien 3.
I haven't watched it in years. I mean, I think I like it. I don't really remember that.
I think the problem is that it followed Aliens, which is a more upbeat movie. I mean, people get killed and stuff, but it's like action. It's got a feel good ending. Alien 3 is very dark, and it does
it's a
immediately takes you down after Alien ends, because spoiler, you find out the girl that she saved is killed, and then there's it's just a dark movie, they're sexually assaulting Ripley and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I get it, but I think it's a good movie. I like it. Alien Resurrection and everything after, to me, is just terrible.
I'm not a big fan of any of that crap.
Yeah, Resurrection, I think, is just a terrible movie. Both the Alien vs. Predator movies are terrible.
Oh, I don't even think of those. Those are miserable.
I do not like. It's weird. I really dislike Prometheus. I don't even remember Covenant. Maybe I didn't even see it. But I do have some friends, Michael Epstein, who hates Prometheus but loves Covenant.
Oh.
Stu also doesn't love Prometheus. Another friend of mine, Stu, but he really likes. So I don't know. Maybe I need to watch Covenant. Maybe I like it, but I think they're I think they're connected. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. I hated Prometheus so much. I still have bad feelings about that.
Yeah, I do not like it all. So this is clearly from the ads more in line with the original Alien movies, which has me excited. I know some people are like, it's fan service, whatever, but it has me excited anyway. Now, it might be rotten, but I've heard good things.
It looks scary from the trailer. I just having the
Greg is also agreeing that Covenant is better than Prometheus. So.
Okay, then maybe we'll have to rewatch Covenant. I thought I watched it, but maybe I didn't either. I
This
think
is
maybe after Prometheus, like that left such a bad taste. I didn't want to watch any more of that shit.
right. I hated that too, says Bubba. Pepe Petite. They have one with the face hugger wrapped around the outside of the bucket. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that one is the AMC. And then I think that Regal has like the adult alien head with like the base kind of cord out so you can fit popcorn in a strange angle.
Oh, okay.
But then the British one was really cool because it was a clear popcorn container with like the green face hugger inside, which I thought looked good.
I saw people doing dirty deeds with the alien. I don't know, it was one of the alien things and the Wolverine bucket.
Oh, okay. I think that the Wolverine and the Deadpool, weren't they kind of designed in that way?
Yeah, I believe so. Lamberson says I hated Prometheus and only disliked Covenant. So he's a little different. Michael loves Covenant, but
Okay.
so this is possible. I think Alien 3 has been reassessed as a cult classic. People seem to love it. That does happen. Like, I used to be a guy who used to say, like, I really like Halloween 3. Everyone else hates it. But I don't even say that anymore because I still see people saying that. But really, to be honest, it's the minority today that hates Halloween 3.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Most
You're
people
right.
really like Halloween 3. Now, could it have? I don't know the thing here. Some of the people weren't born yet, so they maybe just like it. Now, I don't know because it was pre-internet. So when I was a kid, no one else I knew really liked Halloween 3. But I liked it. Troy liked it, actually. Our mom liked it.
Yeah. Yep.
So was it that everyone else disliked it, or we just didn't know anybody? Then when you're on the internet, you find the other people from their own town who liked Halloween 3. Maybe it always had a following. I don't know.
Yeah, it may have.
That's like a lot of things. Like, I think, when I was a kid, like, I love Basket Case and the stuff, and I don't know hardly anyone else who likes these movies, but I didn't know, someone in Ohio or whatever.
Yeah.
That also liked these movies. So it could
you
just
didn't
be
have
what's in the
thousands of friends with, like similar interests, at that time.
internet. So it's interesting. So there are good parts of the internet, like that,
absolutely,
and this show.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah, everything else rotten.
Well, it's because I think of the internet that I found other people that also liked Popeye, which, like, I think B and I were the only two people
I
that
know
I knew that liked Popeye.
That's another one because I always thought it was rotten. I'm sorry, but
that's okay.
You always loved Popeye, and I was like, Troy, my brother's the only man in the world who likes this movie. And then when Robin Williams passed away, all of a sudden people are like, Popeye and Hook are these all-time classics.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they are.
Hook's a different story for me.
I think just everything that ever existed is classic.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, how dare you say Basket Case is okay? Basket Case is an all-time classic in my book. As I say on the show, look, I probably have watched Basket Case and Taxi Driver equal amounts of time. I know in my mind one is better than the other, but they both bring me entertainment. So that's
absolutely.
how I judge a movie.
Yep.
Is one better than the other? Probably, yeah. And you can figure out which. But they're both do what they were designed to do.
Yep.
Coast
yeah,
to
I'm with you on
minorities.
that. I've probably watched Conan the Barbarian more times than I've watched the Maltese Falcon. But you know, like, I love both movies.
The book, yes, that's a good point, John Reddy. I read that recently for the first time, audio book. The book Frankenstein was once named the modern day Prometheus. I think it still is. I think that's always been the like the subtitle, whatever you call it. the log line or something. But yeah, I think it's still in the book.
Yeah.
Like Brain. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Head and Lauder films, especially the classic ones. I don't know if he hasn't made movies all the time. I've tried. He's one of the guys I've tried to get on the show many times throughout the years, and he's very friendly to me. He'll talk to me. I talk to him, not like I sit around chatting with the guy, but anytime I've reached out to him, he'll talk to me. But he does not like to talk about his own films, he said.
Oh, really?
So I
That's
thought,
kind of weird, but that's
yeah,
cool.
why don't we just have him on? We could talk about someone else's films.
Yeah, we'll rap about anything, whatever he wants to talk
Yeah.
about. Talk about our favorite creme brulee. I don't care. That'd be all right.
Yeah, I'm a big Head and Lauder fan. Yeah, so Basket Case, one of my favorites. Brain Damage is really good. Frankenhooker is really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm sure he's stuff. I'm not huge. Frank hates Basket Case. Well, I don't think it's so much he hates the movie from my interaction with him. It's that so many people's made money off of it without even asking and stuff. But I don't know. That's right. Greg, I AD'd Brain Damage. That's very true. So I've said this many times, but I love that whole era of New York films where you get the sketch. It's very sketchy. You get like so all levels, like like I said, Taxi Driver, but then you got Basket Case. I even like Chud. I know that's I was just saying not everyone loves Chud, but I think people like Chud today. But I always dug it. You can check out our, and we have a Chud interview, which I don't think many people have. Let's see. James Wan's going to direct the Creature from the Black Lagoon remake.
No, don't want it. I'm about 50-50 with James Wan. And I don't want to see him remake The Creature. Don't want him.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, I mean, a lot of people love
I'm
his
going to
stuff.
veto
I'm not
it.
really a big fan.
No.
My favorite movie was that latest one he did. What was it? It's not.
Oh my God, that one was so terrible.
The one with the two-headed woman?
Oh no, okay, I'm thinking of a different one then.
Maybe he did one after that.
What was the one? It was one in the series of one of those. And I don't know which one it was, but like there was like some kind of invisible monster that stole the electricity or something. It was fucking terrible.
I don't remember, but I do want to show something. So, by the way, right now, I believe it's happening this week. Kevin Van Hentenryck of Basket Case is doing his free seminar to learn the ancient art of stone carving.
Nice.
So he does this
now that would
every
be a fun time.
Yeah, so I do have a big stone up in Hunter Mountain where I started a Frankenstein monster.
Ooh.
And someday I will go up and finish it, but it's on like a big boulder, which is pretty cool. And so you start off
Probably
with
not going anywhere. It's a big giant boulder.
That's right. So you start off with the hammer and chisel. You actually do, and then you work up the power tools. It actually really is a cool time.
No, it just looked like so much fun when you guys had gone up there and stuff.
Yeah, and it's cool. No one else in that area in the town, Tanner, none of them know that Kevin is from Basket Case. They don't know anything about that. They just know him as the town, stonemason.
Oh, okay. That's pretty neat.
So when they had Basket Case on Joe Bob on the last drive-in, I didn't see it live. And then I had all these people messaging me. They're like, he's saying like almost word for word the stuff out of your video with Kevin. I was like, oh, really? That's interesting. And so when I had interaction with Joe Bob, when he came on the show for the first time, he's like, oh yeah, I know the show. And he mentioned to me that he used Without Your Head as his research for that episode, because he wanted to know what Kevin Van Hendenryck had done in life since Basket Case. And he watched the Without Your Head stone carving video with Kevin Van Hendenryck in the mountains as research. And I was like really stoked. I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I tell people that, they're like, well, did he credit you on the show? And I'm like, no. I'm like, well, he just stole your stuff and didn't credit you. It's like, yeah, he made me feel good in an email, but he didn't say it on the show.
Yeah, that would have been a shout out. Would have been pretty awesome from
right. So, but I did make, this is my primitive Belial that I carved into a stone.
Nice.
And I brought it home.
I dig it though.
Yeah. So that's very fun. I brought that one home. And as people know, I'm a big Belial Best Case fan. This is actually on my hat, on my hand painted hat, the top hat. And there he is, Belial.
I'm putting on my top hat.
No Juan no Juan on Lagoon, Greg says. And Greg says no, he hates it, or did. I said it's great for what it is. He said no, the budget is no excuse. So I love it too. I'm a huge fan, Greg, but that's unfortunate. I got why is there it's not a pop-up, it's this stupid my computer's telling me like news. I don't need for that. Before I stop breathing, I would love to go take that stone carving course. Yeah, I really highly recommend it. It's a good time.
That'd be fun. We should all go up as a group. We'll have like 12 people or something.
Yeah.
50 people.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go watch our videos with Kevin. There's a bunch of them, but I don't think I've been up there now for, I think it was 2012 was the last time I went. That can't be right.
No way. Wow.
It seems insane.
Time flies by though.
Yeah. I need to get, well, I don't want to say in the show, but the plan is to get friends of Without Your Head cameos in Arbor Day since it's our first film. And
so
there are a lot of them that's happening. And Kevin is a longtime guest, so we will have to work on that one.
That would be
yes. Todd Yeager has returned. He did his new review.
Always happy to see those.
Yeah. So the art was like the poster. It's not even a poster. It's just the image they've been using for the PR for Chainsaws We're Singing. Is a guy getting a chainsaw up his ass.
Yep.
And I'm not out in the man. I think anyone who's ever interact with Todd, they know he's an openly, gay guy. So I sent him this stuff and he's like, oh yeah, this looks fun. He's like, I felt like that guy many times. I'm like, I love you, Todd. And I'm, for everyone's right. But I don't need to know that much info. But it's a really fun review. So go check that out.
On a non-horror note, tomorrow, the Marshfield Fair starts. And of course, Marshfield. But it's the 158th annual Marshfield Fair, which just sounded insane.
158?
Yeah, they've been doing this shit for 158 years straight.
Damn.
Just sounds so crazy.
Where is it? Well, you said, have you ever been to that? I've never even heard of it.
No. We've never been. We're thinking about going maybe next week. Because they got rides and they got food and they got games, and then they have a lot of like weird livestock things. They just stopped. They used to have a reverse horse race there, and you could actually bet on it, and the horse that came in last would be the winner. So you'd have to pick which horse you thought would come in last in the race.
Interesting.
I guess that's how they got away from not having like to have like a gambling license or something like that. And then of course Massachusetts was like, we're greedy bastards, so you can no longer do that because you don't have a gambling license. And so I guess they don't do that anymore. But
damn. Somebody's probably like hobbling.
It'd be worth going to see. What's that?
Then you like to fix it. You'd like, let's hobble this poor animal.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like some assholes there, like, hey, old Gus, he's only got 3 legs. I'm gonna put him out there.
Yeah. Then the next one has 2, and one's 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody brings out a horse. Are you sure this is alive?
We don't recommend this, people. But
No.
and yeah, we used to go to I haven't been to the Barnstable County Fair in, I don't know, 30 years.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 10 years, but you're probably maybe it's
For
in
me,
between, maybe 20 years for you.
You've probably been, but I
Yeah.
haven't.
It's funny though, lately, whenever I go, it's been about every 5 years because that gives me enough time to forget how busy, crowded, sweaty, stinky everything is there.
Yeah.
And then I go and I'm like, wow, this sucks. Let's not go back here. And then
First time I
5
went
years
was
later, I forget.
when I was a little kid, and it was Chubby Checker played there.
Nice.
And I wasn't a little kid in the 50s or something, folks. He was, around for a while. So this is the 80s.
Yeah.
And in my memory of this, he just played the twist over and over for hours.
He
I could be
probably
wrong.
did. He probably did,
And then the last time I looked at when they came back after COVID, because they were shut down for COVID for a little while, it was Billy Bob Thornton's band was playing.
Oh, no kidding. Well,
I
I
guess
should
that's
look
really
into
cool.
this one and see if there's any cool bands like, that have kind of seen their better days, like that are at the Marshfield
Yeah.
Fair.
So,
I
anybody
just
out
thought that
there?
was pretty neat that they're 2 years away from 160 years doing this shit.
Yeah.
I just thought
So
that was pretty cool.
If anybody out there wants to ever commission me to do 8-bit art for you, it could be for your independent film. Doesn't even have to be horror if you're paying me. Or it could just be you or whatever. I don't charge a lot. It's $25 a sprite. So you can email me at withoutyourhead@gmail.com or message me on Facebook. Or if it is for like a movie, sometimes I will do a deal where if you let me sell the shirts, you don't have to pay me whatever like that.
Ooh,
So
that's a win-win.
yeah. So right now we have from independent film The Stoneville Killer. We have the new 8-bit.
I love that guy.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen The Stoneville Killer, there is a scene where he cuts a man's penis off. And so in this game, up in this corner is a flying severed penis.
I was gonna ask you what that was flying in the corner, but
which is not the first time I have been asked to draw an 8-bit penis, but it's the first time I've drawn an 8-bit severed penis.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's a fun shirt. You can check that out. It's on
I love it.
I didn't want to put it on Amazon because even though you really couldn't tell this, Amazon has blocked some of my 8-bit shirts saying that they were too violent. I'm like,
oh wow,
three pixels of red.
That's way
That's
too
too
violent.
I mean, come on, folks. Amazon's the worst.
When we get that Frankenstein monster shirt, Chief, that thing's awesome.
Oh yeah, sweet. I don't know. I've
I
had it
love
for a long
that.
time. It's actually it's got all of them. Look, you got Frankenstein.
Ooh.
And Sara Karloff is on later on. So we got Frankenstein. We got the Mummy.
See the Mummy, yeah.
We got
that
Dracula.
one's
We
beautiful. I
got the
love
Bride, and I think down at the bottom is Wolfman and the Creature.
Nice. Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No Invisible Man. Who Invisible Man's the most underrated Universal Monster movie, in my opinion.
I'm with you. I think
one of my
I think you're
favorites.
right. Yep.
I'm not saying it's better than Frankenstein, but it's not better than Frankenstein. But it's always Frankenstein, Dracula, and then it's Mummy and Werewolf. But I'm saying Invisible Man belongs up in there. And that is a hill I will die on. Yes.
And Claude Rains is just so amazing.
Yes, it's a fantastic movie.
Yep. Which might mean, because I mean, Bailey you get, as Dracula, and then later he comes back in Son of Frankenstein as Igor, which is cool. And then the monster is played by a few different guys. I was gonna say that Claude Rains, who plays Lawrence Talbot's dad, he's the Invisible Man as well, which is kind of a neat,
yeah.
You get two roles from Claude, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
And Claude Rains, always great and stuff. I just saw that he's the secret weapon in oh my God, shame on me. Peter O'Toole. Oh wow, Lawrence of Arabia. He's in that movie, and I think it's just got its like 60th anniversary, so it's making the scene at theaters again. And Claude Rains kills in that movie. He's just awesome. He's always so
really?
good in everything. Yeah.
So
he's a dapper little Claude Rains in it.
Mentioned this on Facebook. Our mom always was a fan of the movie Caligula.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people who make Caligula aren't a fan of Caligula. But
true.
So they actually have put out, it's called the Caligula Ultimate Cut. And it's a 3-hour cut. From understand, they've taken out the hardcore pornography. But that doesn't mean it's like, this clean movie or something. But and from understand, Malcolm McDowell, it's his favorite cut. I think it's the only cut that he's seen that he actually stands behind. So that's interesting. So it's got some stuff in it that's actually never been in any other cuts of the film, which you wouldn't think they would still have.
Yeah.
But I'm interested, and it's playing at theaters. It's playing up in Boston.
Any more O'Toole in that?
I don't know. I don't know too many details about it, but we were emailed about
wow.
About it. I don't know if they were offering interviews, but I don't really know who's around besides Malcolm McDowell and I guess Heather Muir. But I can't. Malcolm McDowell's been on, so I guess he could possibly come on. But
yeah,
I don't know. But we were emailed about it to look it up. But it's playing. Yeah, it's playing in Boston. It's playing at the Alamo Draft House.
Oh wow.
I don't know if it might be playing at like Brattle or Coolidge. So I'll look around, folks, see where it's playing. It might be playing at some of the more art house theaters up there or wherever you are.
That's a movie I haven't seen in probably 30 years.
Yeah, I don't hate the movie. I've never been a huge fan, but I'm interested in this new cut though.
Yeah, me too. You have me intrigued now.
And to see it in the theater would be pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could go see it. We had a good time that time we went to Boston. I'll show you some good places we can eat. Good barbecue.
All about the food for me, Chief. You know that.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to find it now. I think it was let's see. I don't know.
Kind of like the joint we went to see Cuckoo. Went to the Hungry Pot, which is a combination hot pot and Korean barbecue. And Nasty Neil and I, we had more food than probably the law allows. We had more stuff than would even fit on our table. They had to stash some of our food and then bring it over once we finished with a few things. It was just insane.
It's not listed here anymore on the thing here. So I don't know if they canceled.
Oh, wow. Was it a Fathom event thing or?
No, it was playing. It was just straight up on the, it was straight because I looked on this last night. It was on the, I have the app for the Alamo Draft House. I'm seeing now it's playing at Somerville Theater, which is also
okay.
Weird though. I think that's the only place it's playing now in Boston. I wonder if Alamo canceled it for some reason.
Maybe they got bad press on it or something.
Yeah, that's weird. I thought it was the only place it was playing. Oh, interesting. Dylan Graves. Hello there. Hello, Dylan. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you subscribe here. Bubba, the Invisible Man, is by far the most evil of the Universal monsters. Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that once he's the Invisible Man.
Yeah, because most of the other Frankenstein, I don't think is clearly not evil. Most of the other monster, Creature of Black Lagoon's not evil. Wolfman's not evil. He's cursed. Creature of Black Lagoon's, just protecting his area.
Yep.
The Mummy's doing his stuff out of love, but I guess Dracula's
he's a little. Yeah. Maybe.
He's Mummy and Dracula are basically the same story.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right about that.
But Invisible Man, he's crazy.
Yeah.
He is a likable villain.
Oh, yeah. He's having so much fun being evil. It's great, you know?
Yeah.
That's another testament to Claude Rains, too.
Yeah, he's got the line about derailing the train, which is killing all these innocent people.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
laughing while he's saying it.
And he's all excited about it.
So I guess he does. Yeah, he kills more innocent people than any of the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, probably body count. He's way ahead of everybody.
Yeah, and it's intentionally. It's not like Frankenstein who just can't, live in the world. He's not intentionally killing people.
Even the moon's terrified of me. Look at it.
Yeah, he may be classified as legally insane, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he would be.
So anyway, I think we played all our trailers, which we were going to play. So pretty soon here, we're going to get to our interview with Sara Karloff. But don't forget,
looking forward to that.
Go to withoutyourhead.com/Arbor Day and sign up for the pre-launch of the crowdfunder. Hopefully it'll be up this weekend. A lot of cool people involved. As I mentioned earlier, Dan Yeager is going to be the voice of a character. I will let everyone know when the crowdfunder pops up. And he will be he'll be one of the perks. So you can get an autograph photo of Dan Yeager as this character. Well, it's going to be a cartoon of the voice he is playing. And
that's even cooler, I think.
I agree. So it's Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw 3D. Some people have already announced were involved. Michael St. Michaels of the Greasy Strangler, Bill Whedon of Kabuki Man, Paul Ehlers, Madman Mars himself.
That's the best.
Yeah, and there's some other people I don't want to say yet because we want to save some of these for the Kickstarter.
Oh yeah, we got some good ones coming up too. I'm a little intimidated though, I gotta say, because not being a thespian myself,
you're gonna have fun on the show.
Oh, I will. I'll have a ton of fun, but I'm still a little nervous. But yeah, get your quill. And
yeah, I mean, not everyone's, a natural, fantastic actor like me.
Exactly.
I know you're intimidated being around me sometimes, but.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't. I didn't say you weren't one of the people I was intimidated by.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen your work. And like I've said in the past, you have that
I love it when people praise me.
That knack though, that you don't even have to speak. You had
what are you trying to cut my lines out, Arbor Day?
I think it's better if you don't, but that's just a personal preference. But your silent work has been spectacular. You just you steal the scene with just facial expressions. You really do.
That's this is born this way, but I don't know how I was going to show this, but I think
it's sometimes you Peter Lorre right here. Yeah.
This is an emotional support pickle.
Nice. Where on earth did you get an emotional support pickle?
It was a Christmas birthday present.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I like it too. So also for people out there who've seen End Zone 2, we tracked down Backwoods Bob from End Zone 2. He's never been in a film since then. That was his first and only film. We tracked him down, and he is in Arbor Day.
Is he still okay? I'm hearing he had some tough times.
Yeah, you'll have to wait and see.
All right.
He's a hard man to work with.
I bet.
Yeah, I got some scenes with him, so hopefully they work out.
He's a scene stealer, I've heard.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna play.
I thought you were gonna hit me with the Ox Baker and do the, mind your business, fat boy. Do one of those on.
I still want back Bob's origin story. I actually wrote a Backwoods Bob. Well, I didn't write it. I just went and talked to the guy. I got an interview with him.
Yeah, well, you wrote it as he told you.
His autobiography, yeah.
Well, just biography, because he told and you wrote.
Right. Good save.
Yep.
All right. So Sara Karloff here. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna talk all about her memories of her dad growing up, the daughter of a horror icon, not just a horror icon, because we'll learn in this interview, Frankenstein was like, I don't know, his 50th movie or something. It was crazy. I think most people think, Frankenstein and after that, but he was an established actor before that, but an unknown actor until
Oh
Frankenstein.
yeah. I remember seeing him in some some weird silent things, where he
Yeah.
didn't obviously speak, and he just still had that great look about him. Just fucking Karloff. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, this was great to get Sara on the show. I met her in Boston in Cambridge at the Brattle Theater. She was there and she was showing some rare 35 or maybe 16 millimeter video or film of her dad. It wasn't like movie stuff. Like This Is Your Life, Boris Karloff.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I missed that, because that sounded like so much fun.
Who's George Clooney's mom?
Oh, Elizabeth Clooney? Was that her name?
No. Well, anyway, her old show, he was on that. I don't know, it was really wild. If you ever get a chance to see it, This Is Your Life is on YouTube, and it's cool to watch. I recommend watching it. But watching it in the theater on original film with Sara Karloff there was really wild.
Gotta be amazing. Yeah. Yep.
I didn't even notice. So I went and sat in the front row because I like the front row at the old theaters because they have space, because it's the theaters, the screen's on a stage, so it's not, you don't have to look up. And I didn't notice till I sat down. Two people over was Sara Karloff.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
So I sat pretty much next to her the whole time. So that was cool.
That's too cool.
All right, so here we go. Sara Karloff, Rosemary. There you go, Rosemary Clooney. That was one of the things they said, Rosemary Clooney show, which I didn't even know she had a show, but it was like a not sketch
was that
comedy,
back in the
but
60s or something, or
yeah,
the
it
50s?
must have been. Yeah, it was black and white, and Boris was pretty old, so yeah, it's probably 60s. So it was Rosemary. It was like a variety show, like little sketches and music and stuff. All right. So here we go. And then we'll be back next week with some cool guests. Subscribe, hit the like button. Here we go. Sara Karloff here on Without Your Head. Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
And we're joined by Sara Karloff, daughter of the iconic Boris Karloff. It's very cool to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here.
Yes.
It's an honor to have you here.
It is.
It's really, really wonderful that you joined us. I'm very excited about it.
Well, I am too. We'll have fun.
Yeah. So when did you first become aware that your dad wasn't just like your dad? He was known, to other people.
He always was just like my dad. However, I don't know, just slowly and gradually. I suppose riding in an elevator with him was always an experience, because people didn't know whether or not to mind their manners. There was a lot of elbow sort of, activity going on and sort of eye rolling. But by and large, I got the message that he was famous about then. When we'd step off the elevator, then everybody would point and say, who that was, who that was. But they minded their manners. At stop signs, my father usually drove a convertible. And at stop signs and stop lights, there was a lot more going on in other cars than was going on in our cars, because they were pointing and saying, look, look. So gradually I gathered, and in restaurants, although people then had better manners than people to have now. And so they let us eat. And then once in a while, someone would come over and introduce themselves, or mid-bite, they'd ask for an autograph, but not too often. Yeah. But out in public, but my father was a very private, modest man, and he'd say, I don't know what all this is about. This is ridiculous. A plumber couldn't act, and I can't fix a sink. So
Yeah.
he was very, very modest and did not lead the life of a movie star at all. He was British, soft-spoken, very funny, very articulate, very well educated, and very well read. And so he was just led a very quiet, non-movie star-like life.
He just seems so just warm. His smile is so warm, and seeing pictures of you together and just the way that just comes through in his films. And he seems like he was a lovely man.
He was a lovely human being. The people who worked with him respected him, enjoyed working with him, and the people who knew him just adored him. My godmother wrote a biography, and she said, almost to a person that she interviewed for the book, would start their remarks by saying, oh, dear Boris. And so she titled the book, Dear Boris. He really was beloved.
Was it ever hard for him to travel and just live like a normal life away from the movies, since everyone knew him?
No, it wasn't, because he was so warm, so appreciative of his fans, didn't take himself seriously. He took his profession very seriously, but he didn't take himself seriously. Certainly didn't take his fame seriously. He'd been in the business for 20 years. And Frankenstein was his 81st film, and he was the first to say, nobody ever saw the first 80. So although he was the consummate professional, he was very grateful for the pivotal difference in his life, both personally and professionally, that Frankenstein made. And he had been around a long time. He was 44 years old. He spent 10 years in British Columbia doing repertory theater, with 3 different repertory theater groups, sometimes getting paid, sometimes not, being a starving actor for 10 years up there. And then he made his way down to Hollywood, not really thinking of films, thinking more about doing more repertory theater. And he just sort of stumbled his way into film, and was fortunate enough to get bit parts, and then made his way. He said that he was the 4th from the left in the 3rd row, and in films, and then he made his way into bit parts, and it just took off from there, very, very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that before 1930, he had almost 50 parts then. I just can't imagine. Not to be ignorant, I had no idea there was just so much filmmaking then. Because I know he wasn't the only guy in these movies. I was just so impressed by that.
Well, as I say, Frankenstein was his 81st film. He'd been in Hollywood 10 years and nobody knew it but him. So he had earned and learned his craft. As he said, when he was first arrived in British Columbia, because he was British by birth and by education, and was trained for the diplomatic corps. And then he got on a boat and made his way to British Columbia. And someone asked him how, in an interview later, how he got his start. And he said, with a bundle of lies, of course. He told the man who was in charge of auditions for a repertory theater group that he had been in all the plays that he had only seen in England. And he said that his salary was $30 a week when he first stepped on the stage in British Columbia, and it was $15 a week when the curtain came down on his first performance, because it was abundantly clear he'd never set foot on a stage before. So he learned his craft the hard way. Fortunately, he was very quick study, but he found himself painting sets, building sets, sometimes eating, sometimes not, sometimes getting paid, sometimes not. It was tough for the 10 years in British Columbia, and not much easier his first 10 years in Hollywood.
Amazing how much dedication he had to want it so bad that he was willing to go through all of that.
He did. That's why he felt so adamant, felt it was so important to be one of the founding members of the Screen Actors Guild. His card number was number 9.
Wow.
And he felt it was, once he had gained a position, a name in Hollywood because of Frankenstein, he and the other founding members felt it was so important to develop a vehicle by which up-and-coming actors would have a voice to defend themselves, to express complaints, to protect themselves against the all-powerful studios and directors and producers. And that's why they banded together. My mother said they would park their cars blocks away from one another's houses and hold a meeting, or they would be on the dance floor and dance by one another and whisper, meeting Tuesday night at so-and-so's house. And they had to keep it secret, or they ran the risk of never working again.
Wow.
Before they were successful in forming it was a union. It was a union of protection for actors and a union essentially against the all-powerful studios.
Did that result in any trouble for him?
No, they were fortunate. They continued to be able to work. They were strong enough actors and strong enough in their dedication to making this Screen Actors Guild work, and it did work.
Yeah, and even today, recently,
is there a movie about that? Because that sounds like it would be amazing.
It would be, but now SAG is connected with AFTRA, and they strike when they need to, and they prevail when they can.
Yeah, as I say, even, not just like last year or the year before, there was a strike, versus all the rise of AI in movies. So it's something
and justly so.
Yeah.
Justly so. But there was nothing when my father made Frankenstein, he was already a starving actor. He lost 25 pounds during the making of Frankenstein. And they would work 19-hour days, 20-hour days. It took 4 hours to put that makeup on, and it took 3.5 hours to take it off. Now, that's almost a full working day today.
Yeah.
And then they would begin to shoot, and they'd have long shooting hours. And I mean, it was brutal, just brutal, and nothing to protect the rights of the actors. They were just pieces of meat.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if the paint was like lead based or anything?
Yes, it was. Yes, the makeup was lead based. No protection for the actors. Jack Pierce, the genius makeup artist, and my father became very great friends. Of course, they spent hours upon hours together, and I can't name the number of films they made together. But my father always said that he owed his career to Jack Pierce, and that Jack was the greatest makeup artist of all times.
Yeah, the makeup still holds up. I mean, the original Frankenstein still looks amazing.
Oh, it does. It does. And they didn't use prosthetics. They used just makeup, you know. And
Wow.
Jack was a genius. And he did so many makeups on my dad for so many roles.
So your dad, he plays Frankenstein a few times, Frankenstein's monster. Do you know why he decided not to continue playing the monster?
I've heard my father in interviews said that he felt, first of all, he would, with tongue in cheek, say that the monster was his best friend because of the pivotal difference the role made in his life. But he said that he felt, after making the 3 films, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Son of Frankenstein, he felt that the role had reached a logical conclusion that that he did not want to have to do anything with making the monster, the role, the brunt of bad jokes, bad scripts. He felt it had been portrayed long enough, and
Is it important? Do you need it?
If I don't answer it, I'm not here. Stop it. He just felt that anything beyond those 3 films would make the monster the brunt of bad scripts, and the storyline had run its course.
Yeah.
And actually, I think he was right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Do you know what he thought, or what you thought of, you said about, jokes and stuff later on when they make like the Munsters, or they make like the cereal, a Frankenberry cereal? Like, what do you think of things like that?
Well, I also think that my father felt that when something is copied, it's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's different than taking the same role
Sure.
and just using it till it dries up and dies. But for instance, I know he would have thought Young Frankenstein was wonderful and that Mel Brooks was a genius. I think he would have thought that Bobby Pickett's song was a great compliment. I think he would have thought that the parodies of the TV series was a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think some of the later Frankenstein films were anything but a travesty.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first 2 are really comparable. Some people even like, Bride the best of all the Universal.
That's right. That's right. Although my father, I think erroneously, felt it was wrong to give the creatures speech. And I think later he felt he was wrong in thinking that.
Yeah. Do you know if he read the novel before taking
certainly.
the role? He did.
My father was a voracious reader, and certainly would not have done the role without reading the novel.
Mm-hmm. And what do you know if the makeup was different for the Mummy? Like, obviously it's a different makeup, but like, was it harder or worse for him?
Well, the first story I'll tell you about the makeup for the Mummy is when they finished doing the Imhotep gauze wrap.
Yeah.
He pointed out to them that they had forgotten to put in a fly. They took care of that. But I know also that at the end of the shoot, and that was just a 1-day shoot, my father passed out because it was so dehydrating. He just was his total. It was a long day shoot, and it just totally dehydrated his body. That gauze was just absorbent, so absorbent it absorbed all his bodily fluids, and he just passed out.
Wow.
Talk about using the actors as but it was a brilliant 2-part makeup for that film. It really is not a horror film. It's more a romantic film. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story, and it's a beautiful set also.
I agree with that. I love The Mummy. And I agree. I think that is absolutely a love story. It's very tragic. It's sad. And
misunderstood.
Very much so.
Yeah, it is.
So in Frankenstein too, there's a very sad character, the monster in Frankenstein.
Yeah, it is. My father said that kids got it more than adults. They understood that the creature was the victim, not the perpetrator.
Yeah, the doctor is the real villain of the movie.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, which he's a little underrated, I think. But obviously, when so when was the first time you saw his movies? Like, did you grow up watching them, or did you watch them later? Or
well, it's different. It wasn't a VCR, so
that's true too.
The first time I saw Frankenstein, I was 19 years old, and it was on television, and I watched it alone in our living room. And by that time, of course, I'd seen and heard so much about it, read so much about it, that I watched it rather studiously, and I wasn't at all frightened. And I didn't think, oh, that's my father. I just sort of watched it rather studiously, and I enjoyed it. But of course, I watched it from a totally different perspective than anybody else in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoyed it. And of course, the worst kept secret is that I don't like scary movies. And it's the world's worst casting, me as my father's daughter, because I don't go see scary movies.
There are actors and all kinds of people in horror that don't. We've done a lot of interviews with people, and they don't like horror movies. They get their job, and they enjoy their job and the people they work with, and they keep moving on.
And also, a lot of our actors don't go see their own movies because they sit there and think, I could have done that scene differently.
Yeah.
I should have done this. Maybe I could have done that. And so they don't go see their own films. Yeah. My father, of course, was nothing but a bit part player at that point. He wasn't even invited to the premiere of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Well, he's not in the credits of the original movie either.
Well, not in the opening credits. In the final rolling credits, he was named.
Mm-hmm.
But so he didn't see the film for quite a while.
Wow.
And my mother graduated from UC Berkeley as a librarian. That's how they met. And he went into a library to get some books. And so after he made Frankenstein, and of course, Colin Clive was anticipated to be the star of the film. And so it was a surprise to everyone, including my father, that the monster became the star of the film. So he and my mother went up to San Francisco to visit a friend of hers, a schoolmate of hers from UC Berkeley. And Frankenstein was playing up there. So they thought they'd go see it finally. And they sort of course, nobody knew what my father really looked like out of makeup.
Yeah.
And so they went into the film to see it and sat in the back quietly. And when the shot of my father turning around in the doorway. My mother's schoolmate, my mother's name was Dorothy and her nickname was Dot. And so when my father turned around in the doorway, her schoolmate screamed, "Oh my God, Dot, how could you live with someone like that?" Whereupon they were asked to leave. So even then, they didn't get to see the whole film.
Wow.
Because, of course, they didn't know that was the theater people didn't know that my father looked like what he looked like under the makeup.
That's that's amazing. So, was it ever hard for you actually as a kid, being not necessarily the daughter of Boris Karloff, but the daughter of Frankenstein or the daughter of the Mummy? Or...
Well, I was always very grateful they made Son of Frankenstein. And the daughter of Frankenstein.
Right. Yeah.
But yes, eventually, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, really, because my parents were divorced when I was 7. And they each remarried very happily and very successfully. So that was a good thing for each of them. And so my mother remarried a wonderful man who was an attorney in San Francisco. So we moved to San Francisco, and I went to a private girls' school in San Francisco. Well, in Los Angeles, when we lived there, a famous name didn't matter. There were lots of them roaming around Hollywood. But when I moved to San Francisco and went to a private girls' school, the name Karloff stood out a bit, like a sore thumb. So I had to learn to cast my own shadow and study hard and become a good student and just forget that my father was a movie star. And that I learned a lot by learning to cast my own shadow. I took a lot of teasing for it, but it was a good lesson for a kid to learn.
Mm-hmm. I know you've been in some movies, but was acting?
No, I haven't been in some movies. That's what people think.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I may have said 3 words in a couple of...
Right, okay, fair enough, yeah.
It was never an interest for you? Or did part of you think, well, maybe?
No, it never has been an interest to do that. When when my father was in Peter Pan on Broadway, he had me, and I was still in school, he had me back to New York to watch the play from all different angles. And at the end of my visit, he said, "Well, I can tell you don't have the fire in the belly because you paid more attention to Nana the dog than you did to me." So, no, I've never wanted to be an actress.
When I saw you at the Brattle, with local theater to us in Boston and Cambridge, and I loved. It was interesting because there was a lot of stuff of your father on film, that like stuff that most people probably haven't seen before, and This Is Your Life was the one that really stood out to me. That was amazing, and from what I understand, that's part of your collection. So, like, how big is your collection of film?
Of films
Mm-hmm.
and television?
Yeah.
I haven't counted. I'm not a collector.
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge collection. People send me a lot of interesting things. I have a lot of my dad's films. He made 167 films.
Wow.
He did a huge body of television work. He had 3 television series of his own. Thriller, The Veil, and Colonel March. He was on he was a guest on every prominent show of the day, and he did a lot of Playhouse 90 and things like that. I have copies of a lot of them. I wish I had Arsenic and Old Lace. I don't have that. Very few people have a copy of that. I have a sizable television collection, but not such a large film collection.
I love that movie, Arsenic and Old Lace. I saw that very young. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't. Not very many people have the original.
Yeah,
they have the television one, and I have that, but I don't have the original.
Mm.
I know you mentioned on the when we saw it at the Brattle, why your father wasn't in the film version, but if you'd like to tell people who don't know the reason why your dad wasn't in the film version.
Well, he was still under contract to doing the play in New York, and he couldn't get released from the play to do the film. And he always wished he had been able to do the film, but it was a reasonable reason not to release him, because he had a one line in the play that brought the house down every night. And had he not been in New York doing the play live, they would not have sold out every night. So it was a reasonable reason to hold him to his contract.
Well, what's the experience like when you're at the Brattle, like an event like that, and you're watching your dad on screen? Not just you watching him, but with an audience and people are watching. Some for the first time, maybe.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm so proud of my father. He's been gone 55 years now. Wow. I was 30 when he died. I just gave my age away, unfortunately. And he left such a legacy, both personally and professionally. I mean, he was such a lovely human being and such a wonderful father. And he's one of the very few people in the business about whom nothing negative has ever been written or said. Mm-hmm. So I'm extremely proud of the legacy he left. And I love to share it with fans. I love to hear what fans have to say about him. I enjoy trying to answer the questions I'm asked, but actually the fans know far more about my father than I do. Right. And so it's a learning experience for me, and one I enjoy very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for people who haven't seen This Is Your Life, it's great because the story is like he didn't want to ever be on the show. Well, you can tell it better than me. So.
Yeah, well, Ralph Edwards and my dad were very close friends. And very often my dad and my stepmother would go and watch the show and then have dinner with Ralph and Barbara afterwards upstairs and watch the evening show, which is the format. It was called Live Kinescope, and then the show would air upstairs, and the people whose story had been told and their guests would watch it upstairs and have dinner. So very often my dad and Evie would join Ralph and Barbara doing this. And so my dad and Evie were watching the show, he thought they were, but he had always gotten Ralph to promise that he would never, ever make him a subject of This Is Your Life, because my father was very modest, very private, and Ralph had always promised he never would. Somehow, my stepmother talked Ralph into breaking his promise to my father. And my father thought they were just there in the wings going to watch another show being shot. And when Ralph introduced my father thought he was just being introduced as a guest watching the show. And when he realized he was the subject that evening, he gave my stepmother a look that would freeze you. He was so horrified. He later said that she sold him out for a washer and dryer. But if you watch that show and look at when he's being introduced, and it's about a double take and another double take. He just does not believe it. And then you see this look of absolute horror that when he realizes it. It is so funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny to him at all.
What happened with that friendship?
With his wife? Or with
either his friend or her.
Oh, my father, I guess, forgave Ralph. They remained friends. But throughout the program, you'd never know. You'd never know. And he was so delighted to see Jack Pierce, his old school chum he couldn't believe, and the cricket player, and the man from Alaska. Those were the people that he was so thrilled to see. The rest, Ralph had really had to do some digging. And I'm sure my father, you couldn't tell that he didn't remember them, but they were pretty far flung because my father was so private.
Yeah.
But those people, my father was so delighted to see. My father was his favorite thing in the world was cricket. And to see the world's #1 cricket player, who my father knew, he was delighted to see the man from Alaska. He had had the best time. My father had the best time on his trip up to Alaska, and he was the first professional actor to set foot on a stage in Anchorage, and they'd had the best time up there. And he didn't like it being told that he donated his salary to the effort of building this theater up there, but he thoroughly liked Frank Brink and was delighted to see him. He was delighted to see his old school chum. I guess they'd had some adventures together in school. And then, of course, to see Jack Pierce, he meant every word of when he said he was a genius and the world's best makeup artist. So my father really enjoyed it, but I'm sure he was nervous about who Ralph might have dug up.
Yeah. All those people you mentioned, I thought was very emotional to watch, because you could see the genuine joy in your father when his schoolmate comes up. And I'm glad you mentioned the man in Alaska, because I thought that part really stuck with me, because you could see the humbleness of your dad. He didn't want it known that he had gave up his money, like you said. But I thought that was a great thing that is out there, though, that it meant a lot to him to help a small theater up in Alaska that probably wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for your dad doing that.
No, that's true. And I mean, they remained friends for years.
Yeah. And so often
it showed the side of my father.
He's charitable. He's an activist. He's really an amazing guy.
He really was. He really was.
Yeah. How was he as a father? Just in the home? Was this guy, did he cook for you? Or did you go on trips? What was that like?
Well, he worked a lot, so we didn't go on trips, but that I recall. I was young. He was a very thoughtful, warm father, and a very wise father. Very wise father.
Something also stuck with me when you were talking. Like, he never really talked about his movies at home so much, or his work.
Never brought his work home.
Except for one in particular, where he called every week, called you up to tell you it was going to be on TV, which was The Grinch. And do you know why that was so important to him, The Grinch?
Well, I think by that time I was married and had 2 children. And I thought he felt it was important for the kids to watch too. Yeah. And he was a good grandfather, and the kids were just the right age for the Grinch. And to this day, it's a family treasure, absolute treasure. Mm-hmm. And he won a Grammy for it. my dad was in England at the time of the Grammy Awards. And so he had asked his agent to go to the awards ceremony. And so the next time my father came over from England to work, he, of course, went to his agent's office. And his agent said, "Here, Boris, here's your Grammy." And my dad took it from him and turned it around and looked at it and said, "Looks like a bloody doorstop." And he took it and he put it over on it at his agent's door and left it there. My father was not into awards.
Wow.
But the evening you asked about, the phone rang and it was my dad. And he said, "I've done something and I think you and the boys might enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. And if you have time, it's going to be on the telly tonight. And I think you and the boys might enjoy it." Well, it's a family treasure, and it's just every child and every family loves it every Christmas. But it's the one and only time he ever did that. He never brought his work home. He never talked about other actors. He never talked about what he did. He just didn't. He was devoted to his profession, devoted to helping other actors. He did one time say he had done the Terror, and he had done a comedy of terrors, or he'd done The Raven with Corman. Yeah. And he came home evidently and said, there's a young man on this set that is going places. He's going to go places. And it was Jack Nicholson.
He was right. Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah, he did pretty well for himself. So,
Yeah. So
He seems a little, in those first few movies, he seems a little goofy, but then it all worked out.
Yeah. But I know my father was known for a way in which, and I don't know this why it was so special, but a way in which he marked his scripts. And I know Sinatra came and studied with him for that. And I know several actors who have gone to him who went to him to learn the way Karloff marked his scripts.
Interesting. Do you know what your dad thought of Roger Corman? Were they close? I know they did 3 movies
They
together.
did. They worked together.
I saw a video where Christopher Lee said he was friends and neighbors of your
They
father.
lived next door to each other in London.
That's pretty amazing. So,
Yeah.
do you know if Hammer Horror ever tried to get Boris into a movie?
Who?
Hammer Horror, the Hammer Horror films. You know,
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I know the one thing my father, he was asked in an interview if he had any regrets, and my father said, "None at all. It's been been so fortunate. But the one thing I wish I had had an opportunity to do, but it's I won't have the chance now, was to be on the London stage. He'd been on stage in many places, but he'd never been on stage in London. And
That's really wild to think about. You know? Yeah, being from being from England and doing so much, but never actually in stage.
And never actually in London. He'd starred on 5 plays on Broadway, but never one in London. And that was the one thing he wished he'd done.
Did he ever say about which he preferred, stage or screen?
I never heard him say, but I think most actors enjoy the immediate
like response from the
gratification that stage gives you, the immediate applause. But at the same time, there are no retakes. So I remember my father being asked about method acting. And he said, well, I really don't think much of the method acting school of thought. He said, I agree more perhaps with what Alfred Lund once said he did to prepare to go on stage. He said, he waits for his cue. He checks his fly. He takes a deep breath and he walks on stage and tries not to bump into anybody. And he said, that's the way I sort of prepare too.
Reese Bowling on Facebook right now to come on. He wants to know what is your favorite movie starring your dad and why?
Oh, Targets. And I like the humor in A Comedy of Terrors.
Yeah, it's very fun.
But Targets, I know my father really enjoyed making Targets with Peter Bogdanovich. He enjoyed working with him. He admired him. My father really was playing himself. It was Peter's first job of putting together and writing a script, directing it, and acting in it himself. And my father admired all that creativity and talent. And it was not literally his last film, but it certainly was his last film of any value.
Mm-hmm.
So because my father enjoyed it, I enjoy it. I think as far as favorites of my father's, I think for different reasons at different times, he had favorites. Of course, he enjoyed the films he made with Barrymore. That was, of course, such a treat for an up-and-coming actor like my father. He was so grateful to the Frankenstein films for the difference it made in the total difference it made in his life. I know he enjoyed making 3 films with Val Lewton. He admired Lewton, and he felt the films had great value and great scripts, and he liked and admired Val Lewton. I know he enjoyed making the films with Peter Lorre and Vincent Price and Basil Rathbone, that spoofing their own boogeyman images and trying to drive Roger Corman crazy. And then Targets. So for different reasons at different times, I think he enjoyed some films more than others.
Were you ever around like Peter Lorre and Vincent Price?
Oh, I knew Vincent, yes. He used to ride me around on his shoulders
Oh,
when
that's
I was
amazing.
a young child. Yeah. Yeah, I met Peter Lorre on set, but I did not know him.
Yeah. So I assume
Comedy of
Vincent must have
Terrors
been a
is
nice
wonderful.
guy.
Oh,
what were you saying? I'm sorry, Annabelle.
I was saying Comedy of Terrors is absolutely wonderful. It
Isn't it
looked like
marvelous?
people were having fun. Yeah.
Oh, they did. They had a marvelous time. They played practical jokes on one another, and they sat on the coffin and wouldn't let Vincent out. They had a marvelous time. And Peter Lorre drove everybody crazy because he never knew his lines. And he improvised, and that threw everybody off who did know their lines. And it was, those films were fun for them. They'd reached a point that they could, spoof their own boogeyman images, and they all knew each other, and they all liked each other. And they all enjoyed driving Cormac crazy.
Nick Charles wants to know, did you ever meet Bela Lugosi, and what was the relationship like between Bela and your father?
I never met Bela Sr., but Bela Jr. and I are very good friends. And I've seen my father interviewed. What was their relationship? What was his relationship with Bela Sr.? And my father said Bela was a very fine actor, and that Bela, being Hungarian, had his own personal interests, and my father, being British, had his own personal interests. So they didn't socialize quite naturally, as a lot of actors don't offset. But he admired Bela and felt he was a very fine actor, and that the one mistake he felt Bela made was not mastering the language totally, in which he earned his bread and butter.
Mm. So, when you started doing conventions, like what was that like? And going in, were you like this is? Did you like know it's something you wanted to do, or like what did you think they would be like?
The first one I went to was in, I think, 1992 or something, 100 years ago, and I didn't know anything. It was the one that was done by Famous Monsters of Filmland, and Bela Jr. was there, Ron Chaney was there, and Dwight Fry Jr. was there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
He was wonderful. He was such a wonderful man. And we all met for the first time. I think Ron Chaney and Bela Jr. had met before, but they had. But I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any of the thing about fans, or I knew absolutely nothing. I learned a lot that weekend. I didn't know anything about the law that existed that protected the rights of families of deceased celebrities. I didn't know there was any fan base. I didn't know there were any conventions. They asked me if I'd been down to the dealer's room, and I thought they were playing poker. I didn't know anything. So I had a huge education that weekend. The fans were delighted that the four of us, however many of us, were there. We could not take 5 steps without being asked to sign things. I didn't even know the things existed. And it was just, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I learned so much. And so there was also, it was over Memorial Day weekend, and there was also a concert going on the Capitol lawn because it was Memorial Day. And we wanted to go to it and take a picnic. So we were staying in a lovely hotel. And so I got talked into sort of calling room service and saying I was having a meeting in my room and ordering picnic, like sandwiches and stuff for the meeting. And then we had to sneak the food out of the hotel. So we used our pillowcases, and we used Dwight's laundry bag, Ron's bedspread, something out of Bela's room. We ordered wine and all of this. Well, of course, they brought it up to my room with wine glasses and lovely silverware and plates. Well, we wrapped all this stuff up in all these objects, pillowcases and laundry bags. And then we had to sneak out of the hotel with all this stuff and go over to the Capitol lawn and spread all this out to have a picnic. And then we were there about 15 minutes, and we realized that nobody had asked for our autograph. And we got our lesson in 10 minutes of fame, because nobody cared who we were. Nobody asked us anything. Nobody came up to us. What had happened to our fame? It was so funny. And then we stayed for the whole concert, and then we had to wrap it all back up. Then we had to put it all back on the table in my room. And then we had to put all the smelly food, blankets and pillowcases and laundry bags back in each room. We had to remember where which came from. It was one of the funniest things any of us had ever done. But we got away with it, and we enjoyed the concert. And then we went back to signing things and being famous.
It sounds like quite the bonding experience.
Oh my goodness, it was so funny. And then I learned that I should have been getting revenue from all the things that the use of my father's name and likeness had been earning since his death. Mm-hmm. And instead, my stepmother had been enjoying it.
Oh.
And then I got a phone call that weekend that my stepmother had died that weekend. So Bela and Ron had the same agent as my stepmother. And that Monday morning, I went in to see the agent, and I said, "Hello, I'm your new client." And I said, "I don't think you've done your due diligence." And that's how I started my business.
Wow.
And I know you have a website, and right now you have a store on there, but during the summer, like, people can't buy stuff, but starting in September, they can again.
Yes.
There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Yeah, there is, and it's thanks to the fans. I mean, I wouldn't have known any of this. And the fans are just wonderful. The fans are who have given my father's legacy its long legs. The fans are why I'm doing this. I've been asked to do this interview. The fans are the reason I'm not home cleaning my own oven. The fans are just remarkable. They have nothing to do with me. I'm simply the conduit for the fans who wish they'd had an opportunity to meet this remarkable man, my father. It has nothing to do with me. And I am so grateful to the fans. They are so lovely to me. I have never been asked a rude question. They show such respect for my father and his legacy and his gift to cinema history. And I am the luckiest person in the world to be doing an interview with you, to be asked to conventions, to have an opportunity to meet my father's fans. And I am so grateful to be asked to do this interview. And I am so grateful to the fans, because they are the ones who have perpetuated the memory and the legacy of this wonderful man.
Do you have any standout like art or gift from a fan, like someone who made an art of your father?
Oh, I haven't bought a single thing in my collection. I have the most beautiful artwork of my father that just arrives or is given to me at conventions, and it hangs on my walls. I have a room in my house called the Bathing with Boris bathroom, and it's covered with art pieces, statues, sculpts. It's just wonderful. And it's leaked into my laundry room. And it's wonderful. But I haven't bought a single thing.
What you said about fans was incredibly powerful. I don't want to let that go. Really. That you kind of, when I was listening, I was thinking, oh, you're so minimizing yourself and you seem like a lovely person. But I feel like I understand that's out of your love for him and your respect for him. It's not that you're not a great person.
It's the world's respect for him. Yeah. I'm just his daughter. And that's true. I'm lucky enough to be his daughter. I'm lucky enough to be, I'm not a fan of the genre. Yeah. I don't know much about the genre. I know what I've learned from the fans. I'm the mother of 2 kids, 3 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. I'm not a fan of the genre, and I make no bones about that. When I licensed a haunted house in Salem.
Salem, Mass?
Uh-huh.
Let's go this way.
Yeah, it's near us. Yeah.
And but many years ago, and it was suggested that I walk through it and see it. And so I said, okay, we leave the lights on. And I walked in and I said to everybody who was in place to show me what they were going to do, I said, if anybody touches me or jumps out at me, you're fired. I mean, I just am not a fan of this. I like comedy. I mean, one of my favorite films in the world is Young Frankenstein, but that's funny.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah. No, it is a great movie. It's just a quick story about Young Frankenstein. Once I was taking an Uber home, Annabelle and I went to see actually the original Frankenstein in 35 millimeter at a theater. And the driver was asking me what I went to see. And I was like, oh, Frankenstein. He's like, oh, the old black and white one. I said, yeah. And he started explaining it because he had just seen it like last year. And I realized he was talking about Young Frankenstein. I was like, oh, that's not.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah. He was probably in his 20s. So, but
he's on his way.
Yeah, it was very funny to me, though, at the time. Yeah.
I was invited to I think the 35th anniversary of Young Frankenstein, a panel of it. And Mel Brooks was in the audience. And the panel had a moderator, and several members of the cast made up the panel. And it hadn't gone 10 minutes before Mel couldn't stand it any longer, and he jumped out of his seat and he grabbed the mic from the moderator and he conducted the rest. It was so funny. It was so marvelous. And of course they showed the film. And I probably have seen that film, I don't know, 8 times. And I just fall out of my seat every time. I think it's such a compliment. And my father would have taken it the same way. He would have thought it was hysterical.
Yeah. It's not like a mean-spirited poking fun of Frankenstein. It's you can tell that everyone involved loves Frankenstein. So.
Oh yeah, and the lines and the whole thing. Walk this way.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I now walk that way.
Feldman's amazing in the movie. Actually, the whole cast is
Oh, yeah.
is great.
Oh, yeah.
So I loved meeting you at the Brattle and watching all the things on film. That was great. And do you
Didn't
do that
they
often?
do a good job?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
really
they
a great
did.
time. And
It was wonderful.
yeah, that's one of our favorite theaters, and we're glad. Something to throw out there for people: you should support theaters like that. You know, obviously, sometimes you have to go to your big AMC, whatever. But Brattle and if you don't live in Boston, wherever you are, there's probably a theater like that, like an independent theater, and you should go and support it because you're going to see cool stuff. And the only way they can keep doing that is if you come out and watch
and support it. That's right. And isn't Eric Grayson wonderful?
Yes, yeah, it's my first time seeing him, and he was great. Yeah,
he's a curmudgeon that loves to laugh.
I could tell that. Yeah, at first I was like, I don't know. Yeah, he seemed like you said, a curmudgeon's a perfect term, but then you could tell like he was having fun with it at the same time. Yeah. So he was what is he called? The film
King of the Congo.
Oh yes, the King of the Congo. There we go. Yeah, it was a good time, and I also like something he said because some of the film was preserved by quote unquote someone like a pirate in a way, but if it wasn't for them, a lot of that stuff wouldn't exist anymore. So
absolutely,
wow.
So there is, people will think, oh, you shouldn't, if you don't own it, you shouldn't save it or whatever. But if it wasn't for that, this stuff might not exist at all. So.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a good way to look at it. And where can people follow you to see, what you're up to, what your appearances are?
I have a website. I think it's www.karloff.com.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have a gift shop on it, but it's closed during the summer because I'm closed during the summer.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve a break.
And my assistant of 25 years is goes away during the summer, and she really should have all the credit in the world for running the gift shop and handling the orders and things. And so she's gone and I'm gone and nobody minds the store, but you can still visit the website and see it. Yeah. And I do an annual show in New Jersey every year in beautiful downtown Parsippany, New Jersey at the Parsippany Hilton, and it's Chiller Theater. And I'm there the weekend before Halloween, right before Halloween. And do come. There is one of everything there, from scream queens to Russian wrestlers.
And everything in between, right?
And I'm in between.
Yeah.
It has a huge attendance, and it runs from Friday night through Sunday late afternoon, and it's a fun show. They have
it's one of the longest running
real
conventions.
celebrities there. They have real celebrities there.
Yeah. We've never been to Chiller actually, and
you should go.
Yeah,
you should, because it's not that far away.
No, it's not. It's
Really
not, and it's real. And there's a Ruth Chris restaurant in the hotel.
Yeah.
Lovely. We've been there.
That's
before.
always a plus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Yes.
And a bunch of us always go there for dinner on that Saturday night. So if you come, join us.
Yeah, you don't have to smuggle. You don't have to smuggle it out to go eat on the in a picnic.
Yeah, no, we don't have to. We leave our laundry bags intact. But it's really fun. They do have a signing room with real celebrities from current shows of the day, not horror shows.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have a costume contest on Saturday night, and it's a fun show for everybody. So it's really worth the journey.
Very good. This was great to talk with you.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Thank you for accepting.
Yeah,
I'm so glad it worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah. And we will talk to you again soon.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
where's the off button?
I'll kick
You'll
you
kill
out
us?
here.
Okay.
Just sometimes it's awkward. Yeah. There we go. I think we did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was lovely.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. So we do need to go to Chiller.
Yes.
We have not been. It
Might
is
still be here.
drivable because
Uh-huh.
we did go to the other New Jersey convention
Mhm.
as a possibility. I know October is a busy month,
Mhm.
but
in the early days of Without Your Head, a lot of our regular people I talked to a few times, like Conrad Brooks, at the time was the last living cast member playing None from Outer Space. He was a Chiller
Mhm.
regular. Ben Chapman from Creature from Black Lagoon was a regular. So it's got a long history, and they really like to focus on people that have a history in not just horror, like she said. It's a lot of different people. Kevin McCarthy was a regular, and I really regret never getting him on the show. I heard fun stories about Kevin McCarthy. He would show up. Ben Chapman said he would. I think Conrad said he would show up with just like he would just have a box full of his his photos, and he'd just like dump them on the table. And he used to say, "You got to separate these." And he's like, look, they can pick out what the one they want. But yeah, amazing guy. I never talked to him, but from what I understand, he was a really good guy. But yeah, Chiller would be a great one.
We need to do it. We should. We're gonna have to look at format the calendar and see what's up. There's so much. There's so much to do. Yeah. That would be nice. It would be great to meet her. That was very lovely of her to invite us.
Yes, yeah, I'd love to. We're gonna look into this. That would be great. And she's just a fantastic person all around.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I forgot to tell her. I think her hair looks awesome too.
It does look awesome. It's amazing. I've seen some pictures of Bride of Frankenstein with the and that there's pictures of them side by side. I think it's really cute. I don't know if it's on purpose, but I don't want to be like, hey, Frankenstein. But it's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. It was great seeing all the stuff. I recommend if it's out there to find This Is Your Life with Boris Karloff. It is a really very emotional to watch. You get the contrast. You can really tell like he's not like happy that they picked him, but then you can see the genuine joy when they're bringing up different people from his past. Yeah. So and then it was really fun to hear the story about how all that happened.
Yeah, that was great. I feel really very, very lucky that she was so open about all these different things because he's a private man, but everything she said was very respectful of that, and it was really wonderful to hear.
Yes, and it's nice. One of my favorites of all time, Boris Karloff. People probably realize that because I have many Frankenstein things behind me, and the Mummy's also very. A lot of stuff's cool. And it's nice to know that he's also a very nice person.
Yes. Did you see? You surely saw The Raven. It's got Vincent Price and oh my god, that's so. It's funny and ridiculous when they're like shooting laser beams at each other. Oh my god, laser from their hands. It's magic. They're shooting magic from their hands.
Yeah.
Is my camera like really crazy right now?
Yeah, it was. That's why I turned off Skype, or I thought maybe it would help, but it's.
Well, dude, you can tell me these things. Jeez.
By the way, Baz, I didn't know, but anyway, Baz named his dog Boris after Boris Karloff, one of his show. But I didn't really want to pop up his dog on the interview, but it's very cute.
I named my cat. I have my little picture.
Oh, I remember
my cat that I helped give birth. Well, yeah, I helped give birth to. That's him as a kitten. Boris. He was so cute. He was a little. He was a little
Boris the kitty.
Yeah. Yeah, he was lovely. He was my soul cat. He had a belly button. I loved him so much. That's why he's in a picture frame. I don't have like cats all around me. Oh, little Boris.
Here is Boris from this is Baz's dog Boris. Very cute.
I'm sorry, but belly button cat that I could play airplane with.
Oh,
I don't even know how that. Oh, look. Get rid of this hand. You don't need that guy. So cute. I love him so much. Could play airplane with him. I don't even know how that started. I wasn't trying to throw the cat around. I think I was probably like doing like this.
Right.
He was like just chill. And so I started kind of moving him and he was chill. And then we would do airplane. He'd go.
I like it.
Hold him under his belly. And he was so great. I don't mean to like bore the world with my cat story. It's kind of a weird follow-up to the most like.
If I had a phone when I was younger, I would have a bazillion cat photos.
I wish I had more photos of Boris. Yeah. I might somewhere. Probably him when he was a little baby. But he was a little newborn runt that his mother didn't want to feed. His eyes didn't open on time. He had an outie belly button because she didn't clean him right when he was born. So he had like a little nubby belly button. And he couldn't walk. He could drag himself around. And so, do I have anything here? Surely I have some little dude around here. Maybe I don't. Well, I'll use the potato. Positive potato.
No, I have mine right here behind me.
Yeah. So it was like dragging itself along. He was dragging himself along. And so what I did was I put my finger up underneath his like belly to have his little feet dangle. Mm-hmm. So his little back feet would dangle and he started using them and then he was totally normal.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love him so much. So there's the follow-up to the daughter of one of the most famous, amazing actors, horror actors, lovely man. And Boris is a lovely cat.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to mention our new music of the month, Bricks and Mortar. They are out of Salem, so it tied into.
I'm gonna have to listen to Bricks and Mortar.
Yeah,
I've been around, but this was extra.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's all worked out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out because Annabelle and I are gonna try to meet up here in a little bit, and if I leave now, I'll be there in plenty of time. So.
Nice. So,
all right.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. I'm not sure when you're watching this, but thank you, everyone, for watching.
I want